World with AJ Elicits. I got a lot of stuff I want to cover today, from all over the world. Some to do with the UK, America, Canada. Some funny videos, etc. But first of all, let me just see who's in the chat. Hey, Justin Incredible, how are you today? Hey, Sanako, Lobster Cult Priest. Hey, Cringe, how's it going, buddy? Hey, Dino and Jerzat. Hope you're all having a good day so far. Thank you for joining me. But hey, and welcome aboard, Julie, as well. And also, I wanted to address, last stream I forgot to mention a few super chats from Rainey and as well as Christian Delorme. I don't remember. I think Rainey had asked me to ban Julie Mora, which I won't do. As well as I can't remember what Christian Delorme asked, but he said something that I had missed as well. So I apologize for that. Sometimes it just moves so quickly and stuff that you miss it. Hey, Saint, how's it going? Long time no see. Hello, Political Foolishness. And hey, Stan, how are you? I'm not here, man. Let me put it on live chat because sometimes on top chat, I don't see everything and it just automatically goes to top chat. But, I got a bunch of nonsense that I want to show you guys today. Trying to figure out what exactly I want to show first. I guess, I don't know if you guys heard about that Aladdin spinoff that is going to be happening soon. And everybody created a big stink about it because the main character is white. And he was an actual white character in the movie. He's not taking anybody's race, or he's not like a white character playing a brown guy or an Asian or whatever, but they're just mad that they're making a movie about a minority character that wasn't really big. And because the guy who made Aladdin a week ago was complaining that he's not getting any roles, and he's like, it's really tough out here for a brown man to work in Hollywood, even though I made $1 billion, or the movie that I was in, Aladdin, made $1 billion. Like, wah, cry. Now they're like, oh, look at this white man having a movie made about him, and oh, this is white privilege. Nobody asked for this movie. But then again, too, I don't know how many people are actually mad about this. It's probably like that small minority of people that they like to amplify. Whereas most minorities, I'm sure, don't really give a shit, weren't like particularly mad at this movie being made, but they're going to highlight these blue check marks complaining about it on Twitter and stuff, right? And then some stories from America and some United Kingdom, some people being sentenced for hate speech and stuff online, as well as I got some stuff from Canada. And, I got this one story from this guy, from this Jewish teenager that clearly didn't write this story himself. Like, okay, I get it. We all think that Jewish people are really smart, but this person who wrote this article clearly wasn't the 16-year-old person. He references how his mother wrote an article for the New York Times like a little while ago. So it's probably the parents that did, and just saying, see, the kid wrote this. This is clear propaganda that they just put in there for us. And the idiots who are not very intelligent actually believe this stuff and believe like a 16-year-old wrote this. You're like, it's totally insane. But why would he be attracted to the alt-right? And they're saying exactly the things that the media is saying, whatnot. But let me check out the chat here for a second. Also, I wanted to promote my Discord once again. Let's see here. Do I have the link? Yeah, okay, that's my BitChute account. So actually, yeah, if anybody wants to find me on BitChute, go there as well. Join, just in case December 10th comes along in a couple days, and then my channel gets axed because it's not profitable for YouTube. So, that could always happen. So everybody go there, subscribe to my BitChute. Also subscribe to, like I said, this my Discord link right here. I'm going to post this in the chat as well. Follow me on there. There's a lot of more people coming to my Discord now, and it's getting pretty good. I find, a lot of people are sharing and they're, interacting on there. Like I said, on my other stream, if you didn't catch it, it was near the end that, I got a lot of different categories. I got Canada news, America news, world news, China, United Kingdom, Europe, and then I have Marxism, socialism, memes, food, anti-white racism. So you could post stuff that you come across that's like, clearly anti-white, post it there. So we can have like a big kind of database of that stuff. Random interesting stuff, funny music, movies, sports, freaks of nature. Then I have discussion channels as well as, learning stuff about nature, science, conspiracies, history, and culture. So, there's plenty of categories, and it's not just for discussion. It could also be used as, like I said, kind of like a good resource. So everybody go there, follow me on Discord. That's a good place, I find, considering I'm also banned from Twitter. So, I can't really have discussions with people on there. But let me check out the chat. Hey, Son of Rambo, how are you today? Hey, Forgotten Canadians, how are you? Hey, Slipping Lizard, Mad Marshall, hey, Zeus, how are you? Thank you for promoting my channel. Who else? Political Foolishness. Yes, Julie Mora is indeed a god. Hey, Paul, how are you? DJ in the UK. Lobster Cult. Who else did I miss? Verbal Armament, how are you today? I think that's everybody so far. Anything connected to internet is spyware in today's world. Yeah. Hey, BC Barbie, how are you today? Everybody go to BC Barbie's channel right now and subscribe to her channel. She makes regular content. Very good, very interesting. When I was promoting my stuff yesterday, I don't think I got around to promoting hers because I had to kind of finish quickly. But everybody go to BC Barbie's channel and subscribe. Thought AJ was going to be dressed like a clown. Well, soon I will be. Don't worry. I'll do one of those like Lay Stewie did during Rant's stream a little while ago, right? But what do I have here? I wanted to show something from the Rebel media as well too, and just to see the contrast of what we're doing with refugees compared to what is happening to the citizens that are on the streets in Canada and how well they're being treated, right? Like there's this facility in, I think it was Ontario here. And it used to be a facility for the government or something, or government workers. Really nice. It's in like a really expensive area of town where it's clearly very safe. And each of these people, like what they're complaining about is like cold water. They're like, some of these people have cold water and all this crap. And a lot of these people clearly just walked across the border too, which is, infuriating. But this is Menzies and stuff. I know he's got David Menzies. He's got a funny last name, but he does some decent reporting, that's for sure. But I'm glad that this guy at least was willing to speak with him, but I'm going to skip it to when he's talking to the guy, talk about the conditions.
While we were filming outside the shelter, a individual who resides at the shelter, Henry from Uganda, he came by and he was willing to chat with us. Here is his story. Yeah, can you tell us your story? My name is David Menzies from Rebel News, and can you tell us where you're from?
Yeah, from Uganda.
Uganda?
Oh, place. Yeah.
Aside from weather, how is the things going?
Well, because I had been in the UK, much of it's winter, but here it's getting a little bit more chilly.
It's getting ridiculous.
Ridiculous, yes. But, well, it's better than to be in the country where you're being persecuted. At least now you know that, yes, in the safe hands.
And, sir, can you tell us what it's like inside this refugee center? I mean, it's only been open for a couple of weeks. Who are the people there? Is there other people from Uganda, or are they from all over the world?
Yeah, there are other people from Uganda and other parts of the world. I've known people. I've seen people generally from Africa, but the number of people who have countries, I can see Nigerians, Kenyans, some Tanzanians,
So all over the country, all over the world, in Africa.
Ethiopians. Generally, I've seen some from Asian country. I'm not quite sure, but I think I've seen some of them. But
How can you mistake an Asian person? I'm not sure. Is that person Asian? I don't know. Or are they black?
they are coming from Africa.
And is it nice inside? Is it clean? Do you get your own bed? Is the food good?
Yes, the food is good. Well, we can't complain because of what we've gone through, but apart from that, I don't know whether I'm allowed to say this, but the colleagues from the female side of it, I've been hearing about, they complain about what I think that, I don't know what is happening with the female side, but I understand their water is cold. Their water is cold, and
For bath?
We got to do something about that, guys. That's inhumane. And I know there's homeless people freezing on the streets, but the cold water there is an issue, and we got to do something about it. But whatever. Admittedly, he wasn't saying he said, well, we can't complain because of the circumstances we came from. But Menzies was asking him, so I guess he told him something that was kind of an issue. So I guess I can't harp on him too bad for it, but still.
Bathing and
yeah, so water is for bathing at point. And actually, yesterday we had a meeting, a residents meeting, and we raised some issues. And the management seems to be a little bit understanding. They will say they are all aware of what is going, and we know, of course, it's a new, and they're trying to do whatever they can because, yeah. But
and how many people, sir, would you say is living here right now?
At the moment, I think with the male, probably we are about. I know the program says 80, but I think we are about probably at the moment. I haven't seen beds which are vacant, so it may be the 80. We might be there 80 with the female side. I don't know, but they could be over 100. So yeah,
or maybe 200 altogether. Then?
Probably we're supposed to be 200 altogether.
A brand new facility for 200 border jumpers, most likely, where it's clean, they get food, they get to have meetings about what the issues are with it, where in the shelters, it's just shit. And a lot of people don't even want to go in the shelters. I'll show another video about some other guy who's, asking people, how they survive out in the cold during Canadian winters.
But at the moment, maybe we are about, I can't guess, but probably we are almost at 200.
Now, folks, another notable thing about this shelter is that
look how nice it is. Look how nice that shelter is.
It is situated on prime real estate. It is right on Yonge Street, just north of the Finch subway station. And this area, if you walk around, it is in complete redevelopment where strip plazas once were. They're being demolished, and in their place, luxury high-rise condominiums are going up. So I would imagine that this footprint of land that this shelter is situated on itself is worth a very pretty penny indeed. But not to worry, because earlier today, folks, John Tory announced at a breakfast meeting that, guess what? Contrary to what he promised before, taxes at the City of Toronto are going up for property owners. Hey, somebody has to pay for this, I guess.
There you go. So you're the ones that are going to be footing the bill while regular homeless people just tough it out in the winter, try to survive in the cold. And, I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably seen this guy around. Here, let me share his channel here just so you can see. And I asked permission, but he didn't get back to me. So I'll just show like a little clip. Should be fair use, right? But this guy, Philip Solo TV, and he's just like, he wants to go and live or ask these homeless.
It's pretty cold in Canada where I am right now, and I want to see how the homeless are dealing with that. One, to spread awareness, and two, just because I'm genuinely curious. I decided to go out and interview some people. Hey, how's it going? So, what's your name?
Cecil.
Ciso? How do you survive in the winter?
Not easy. Stay in the ground, don't move one bit.
Yeah, stay put.
Stay put.
How do you get food, and how do you survive if you're just staying put?
Donated out of the car.
Where do you sleep?
On a parking lot or in the car lot.
Can I ask why have you found yourself in this position? Like, what happened?
Can't remember it. A long time ago.
Hey, excuse me. What's your name? Unless you don't want to give it.
My name is Linda.
Linda, how are you today?
Not too bad, a little tired. It's very exhausting when you are outside, cold. Really gets to me now. I've got arthritis. There are ways to keep warm, and that is trying to find spots, finding abandoned houses.
Where are they?
I don't really want to give the locations.
People are probably using drugs in these abandoned houses too.
Yes, they are. I used to stay in a garage.
Yeah.
But there was no running water. There's no facilities of the sort. So people are, defecating in these places.
But where do they defecate if the bathroom doesn't work? In a corner or something?
In a corner, I have had cancer. I'm a survivor. I totally refuse to not be warm during the night.
Well, it must be insane being like a woman with arthritis alone in this kind of environment. Like, how do you deal with that?
It's very hard.
Yeah.
My hands right now are going numb.
From the cold, or?
From the cold. I must have frostbitten my hands somewhere.
People who maybe don't live in Canada don't realize, like, if it's like really cold, after even half an hour, your body will just be like, what the fuck is happening? And
see, instead of spending all that money, millions of dollars probably retrofitting buildings in rich areas downtown in Toronto, they could be spending that money helping actual Canadians that are fucking. This woman was a cancer survivor, and admittedly, a lot of these people, they're not going to shelters as well too, because they're doing a lot of drugs and shit, right? But that money could better be spent helping those people get off of drugs instead of just going to people who don't deserve to be here to begin with.
Your head starts to feel weird. Yeah, your hands go numb. Like, it sucks.
Yes. You have to trust somebody somewhere else. There was too much back.
Vernon Rademacher,
Vernon?
born 1960, February 6th.
Okay.
I've been homeless 5 years. A friend of mine gives me a carport area.
Okay.
He brought me out a 5-gallon pail. He says, you can pee in there, but if you gotta use the toilet, poop, you come and ring the doorbell.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a good man.
Is that where you're sleeping right now, a carport?
No, I sleep with George Spady.
Is that a shelter?
Yes, it's a shelter.
How is sleeping there? How's that? For you?
Pretty good. Sometimes it's a little noisy.
I heard people sleep in abandoned houses out here too. Do you know about
Yes,
that? Yeah.
yes, I know quite a few people.
Do you mind me asking what happened how'd you get into the wheelchair?
2 Januaries ago, it rained, so I slept in a blue bin.
Okay.
Full of cardboard, and then when I got out in the morning, I slipped on the ice. 2 wheelchairs stolen from me since last May.
Who the fuck stole a wheelchair?
I was taking a pee behind a bin one day, and this lady yells from her second floor balcony. She goes, "Hey, buddy!" She goes, "You know that guy in the black truck? He just stole your wheelchair."
Take care, man. Please be safe. All right, guys. So after this, I did another interview where the person actually told me where one of the abandoned houses.
But yeah, I don't want to watch too much more of this, but as you can see, the state in which a lot of people are living in Canada is not very good. They're living in abandoned houses, scraping by to fucking, live while we're just throwing money away to random people that don't deserve to be here. But let me check out the chat here, guys. Cost $1 million a month for that facility. Wow. Yeah, exactly. So Son of Rambo says it cost $1 million a month for that facility, which is exorbitant amounts of money. It would be way cheaper to spend that money here on our people. You know what? One thing about these refugees that they don't really say often is that for the amount of money that it costs to house a refugee here, help them and all this shit, you could help 10 people with that amount of money in their own country and help them do fairly well for themselves. But, you know, because they don't care about actually helping people. They care about replacing Canadians with a bunch of foreigners, essentially. But, you know, it's insane. You know, we need to come first. The downfall call is from those sites. Tent communities takes the cold to shoot up. Right. Yeah, exactly. You know, and some of these people are on drugs, to handle the cold and stuff, right? Or they have animals. You know, a lot of people are outside and they have dogs or whatnot, and they don't allow them in shelters. And, you know, what are you going to tell this guy to get rid of his only companion that he has outside? You know, hey, Craig, how's it going, man? Hey, Rainy Steps, how are you? I want to say thank you for the donations. Last time I forgot to mention one or two of yours because I missed them, but thank you again for the donations. I really do appreciate it. What else is new? The white man is a stranger in his own land. AJ's is Hitler's offspring, obviously. Thank you. I appreciate that, Mad Marshall. Not his offspring. 10 communities in my small New Brunswick city. Never thought I'd see that. Yeah, I'm starting to see 10 communities in Winnipeg now, too. You know, it's crazy. I don't understand it. And they're popping up more and more. And it's in the wintertime. It gets really fucking cold here. And you see them pile up snow around their tents to kind of insulate it. You're like, this is crazy. While you have this guy, I'll show you, fucking this one guy trying to stay in Canada after banging some stupid broad here. But here, let me show the article right here. So this border jumper, no reason for forcing Nigeria man to leave wife, infant daughter in Canada, lawyer. So Festus Odua was removed from Canada after refugee claim rejected, leaving wife and baby daughter in Manitoba. A Nigerian man who crossed the border into Canada years ago was forced to leave the country Monday, separating him from his wife and baby in a case that both the family and legal experts say is unfair. It's like, man, you're just trying to game our fucking system by finding some stupid broad to impregnate, to have your mulatto child here to use as a fucking anchor baby. I love her so much. I love her so much. Festus Odua said through tears as he embraced his wife and infant daughter at the airport on Monday. I wish this would never happen. Oh, well, you know, now your kid is going to be some fatherless child raised by the government, and that's probably going to commit crimes. And, you know, you're probably going to leave this broad and cheat on her anyways. So, you know, and we got stupid women like this that are fucking letting these guys impregnate her because she's probably some lonely feminist or something. It's like, oh, here's my chance. You know, I love her so much. I wish this would never happen. Blah, blah, blah. You know, see, he's got married to her after like a year being here. We did everything right, she said through tears. We followed our legal advice. Didn't do everything right. You know, I'd be so ashamed to be her father. You know, I'd be like, oh my God, not because she's intermixing or whatever, but clearly this guy's a fucking border jumper in here and just using your daughter to get into the fucking country. Blah, blah, blah. Feel sorry. CBC News promoting propaganda to try to make you feel sorry for these people instead of doing stories about the homeless people I just showed you and making a bigger deal about this. But no, we gotta look at this and see how terrible this guy has it. I feel that Canada is a safe country and they are good people. That's why I came here. At least I can make a better family, make a better life, said Festus. No, go back to Nigeria and bring your fucking son with you and bring this stupid broad with you and then make Nigeria or whatnot a better country. Okay. Same with that other guy, this guy from Sierra Leone that stole a fire truck and took it on a rampage, essentially running into vehicles. And he didn't even get charged with attempted murder, where he did run right into a truck trying to hit it. Hey, Faye, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Hey, Lone Wolf also. Binks also, I don't think I said hello as well. Silver, once you black, you never go back, because no way in hell would a white guy take you. Nigerians are assholes. Not all of them. I like some Nigerians, but there are definitely a lot of scammers. Safe this, like, I'm sorry to say, there's a lot of scamming Nigerians out there, and you got to watch out. You can't. You got to be careful. Here, one sec. What else do I have here? So, one thing I wanted to show as well too was, those forest fires that was going on in California a couple of years ago or a year ago, and they're blaming it all on climate change. So now, a utility reaches a $13.5 billion settlement with California wildlife victims. So, yeah, the settlement, which the utility says was reached Friday, still requires the court approval. But essentially this company is the one who fucked everything up and who created the forest fires, right? By having like outdated technology and, standards and whatnot. So it has nothing to do with climate change, but clearly all these things get blamed on climate change anyways. But, stuff like this, those forest fires are still going to be used in the data and whatnot, even though some of them are lit by man or caused by electrical malfunctions, etc. But they're just going to keep that wrapped underneath the rug or whatever. Let's see. I don't know. I feel a little screwed up today. Oh, well, why is that, Faye? I hope you're okay. Off to shopping. Oh, take it easy. Slip and have a good one. AJ, please play the Netflix preview of AJ and the Drag Queen. You are going to have a fucking meltdown. Send me the link to it, and maybe I'll show it. Mass deportation for all non-Europeans. Hey, Facts versus Feelings. How's it going, buddy? California does not do forest management. They use the money elsewhere. Yeah, exactly. A lot of these fires too in Alberta were caused by a lot of the times by the forest companies and not properly managing the growth of their forest either, right? You could just pretty much cut like swaths between the woods, right? Like a line, a couple 100 meters, and then like the flame wouldn't catch on to that area of the woods, wouldn't it? Or also cleaning up a lot of the dead brush and the dead trees that are good fire starters. They didn't manage the forest, but a lot of the times they don't need to, because once again, it comes down to like private property. If the government owns stuff and then there's like a company that's just kind of like renting it or buying it off the government, shit like that can happen, and then the taxpayers are going to be the ones who are going to foot the bill. But let's just say like a company owned this type of land or owned this section of land. Well, now they have more incentive to keep the forest clean, to make sure it doesn't burn down, because they can't just move on to another area once everything gets fucked over, because it costs money, right, to go and manage the forest and take all that shit out, money that they don't want to spend. But if they owned it, they would be forced to spend it, because it'd be a big, huge waste of money to buy a big plot of land and then not properly manage it and have it all burned down, because now you're gonna have to buy a new plot of land. But the way it is, or you're gonna have to spend a lot of money to repair it and all this shit. But they don't have to in this circumstance. So once again, it comes down to like a lot of times the government that helps facilitate a lot of these forest fires and whatever, right? Nigeria is not safe. No, I agree, but I don't care if it's not safe. He can go back to Nigeria either way. Lots of countries aren't safe that's still not actually enough cause to get asylum into Canada. You know, it has to be like war or something. It's like, oh, but there's lots of crime in my country. Oh, well, sorry. You know, it's not a good enough reason to fucking cross our borders and use all of our fucking resources. He's in the U.S. applying for asylum, last I heard. Not joking. Who are you talking about, Raging? And hey, Raging, how's it going, buddy? Everybody go subscribe to Raging Humanist. I think Raging or Rants, Derek, and that they're going to be having a stream later on today around 6:30. So everybody go check it out. And once again, everybody go join my Discord. Here is the link for it in the description here. So, you know, come join it, participate, all that good stuff. Everybody hit the like button, share, subscribe, share it on Twitter and all that shit. I don't have Twitter, so that helps a lot and whatnot. We can't be the world's savior. We need to look after our own. Yeah, I agree. Exactly. You know, that's what comes first. It's family first. If you don't care about your own family, then you're a piece of shit. And people, they think they're kind of brainwashed into thinking that we have infinite resources and we have infinite money. And then this is what the government does a lot of the times. You know, it makes stupid people think like, oh, well, if you want to deny these people resources because we have so much of it, you're a bad person. But really, we're just living off of debt and inflation, and we're just running up the tab until one day it's going to all fall apart, right? You know, it's just like Rome. You know what they did when they were falling apart near the end of Roman era is they started to inflate the money. So then it was no longer valuable coins. It was all just like worthless coins at the end of it with like a little bit of valuable coin mixed in, you know, and then they started paying off like fucking a bunch of foreigners to come and protect them. I've been sitting on Kevin's Rohingya footage for months. I want to just put it out in bits, but need to talk with him first. Yeah, you know, it's sketchy, right? You know, people will come after you. Apparently, Warren Kinsella is being sued by Maxime Bernier, right? And he's like, oh, the free speech activist Bernier is suing me for libel. Shit, right? It's like, well, was it libel? You know, he was smart enough, Kinsella, to stop promoting the lies about the PPC right before the election, because if he did it during the election, then he could be held accountable. But we'll see. Redistribute the bank's wealth. Yeah, you know, a lot of greedy bankers. I was watching this video from Tucker Carlson. They were talking about Paul Singer and how he destroyed these towns and how he destroyed the Cabela's in this one town. And like, my dad uses and goes to Cabela's all the time. And, you know, this one rich banker or whatever, I forget, I think he's a banker, you know, bought up a lot of shares of Cabela's, then forced a merger with this other company. And then he sold all the shares a week after. And then, like, you know, it just lost thousands of people's jobs, you know. And you see these people that he made like $90 million, and they're like, oh, look how smart these people are. Look how they're the ones that are doing everything for America, and they have all the money and paying everything. It's like, no, they're sucking people dry, right? That's what they're doing. Hey, Catherine, how's it going? Long time no see. Catherine Aquitaine is probably one of my first subscribers, very first, and she's been with me from the very beginning of my channel, and I really appreciate, you know, her sticking around and always being really nice and encouraging. And, you know, thank you once again, Catherine. I really do appreciate that. Yeah, you just watched that, Zedmo. Yeah, exactly. You know, I saw a few good things there about it. Jesus, how are you today? Chamdino, Raging, BC, Lobster. Hey, Cy Patriot, the Canadian Republic. Let me check the chat here. I am Indian. Oops, sorry, I am Canadian. The problem is the West is that is that we have politicians who are scared to death to say they want to stand up for whites. Think of how absurd that situation is. Yeah. Thank you, Catherine. I really appreciate that. Yeah, exactly. You know, we need people to stand up for old stock Canadians, the founders of this country, white people in general. You know, I have a bunch of this anti-white shit that I want to show you guys as well too. Like I was saying before, here, I'll show this one clip about Disney and how they're mad about, you know, the new Aladdin guy being some white person, right? He's not Aladdin, but, you know, Disney, let me exit out of this. Disney under fire over Aladdin spinoff starring minor white character. So nowadays, you're going to get scrutinized, you're going to get shit on just for having movies now starring white characters. Like, for fuck's sakes, are you kidding me? You know, Disney is facing criticism for its decision to produce a spin-off film focused on a minor white character from its live-action remake Aladdin. You know, so this is one person on Twitter. So just after the news, the actor who played Aladdin can't get work, Disney announces a spinoff about the token white guy in one scene, one fan wrote on Twitter. And you're like, okay, the guy talked about how he's not getting any roles a week ago, right? And now they're like, oh, you know, how could you release this right now? It's like, it was obviously in the making for a long time, probably. And then they just happened to release it now. Like, you know, what are they going to scrap the whole movie and everything now? And all the money they probably invested in the movie because the brown man in the starring in Aladdin is complaining that he's not getting any fucking roles. Are you joking me? But this is how they think. Many fans are confused. Many fans. How many fans? You know, probably like 10 blue check marks were probably mad, and then some trannies or something. Many fans are confused by the decision. Prince Anders, an original character created for the live-action version, only appeared in a few scenes. Some wonder why in a film replete with characters of color. The studio is focusing on a white one. See, it's like holy shit. It's like, why are they making a movie with a white guy when there's all these brown people in the movie? Clearly, this is like racism and white supremacy. It's like, for fuck's sakes, like, there's no winning. There's no winning with these people. Mena Massoud, who played Aladdin in this year's live-action remake, made news this week after he opened up about struggling to land auditions, even after starring in a film that grossed over $1 billion. I'm kind of tired of staying quiet about it. You know, is this the only... Do minorities get to complain when they just don't get work and shit? And then when white people don't get work, it's that, like, can they complain like this? No, they can't. But it's like, oh, you know, it's, you know, I starred in this movie and I'm not getting any work. Clearly, it's racism. Massoud told the Daily Beast, I want people to know that it's not always dandelions and roses when you're doing something like Aladdin. He must have made millions. He must be getting all these offers. It's none of those things. I haven't had a single audition since Aladdin came out. The admission sparked conversations about the struggles actors of colors face in Hollywood. When asked about Massoud's admission during a press interview, Will Smith, who played Genie in Aladdin, responded, the thing about this business that is not unlike life, it's hard by design. So what? It's hard by design. So essentially, we're oppressing you minorities on purpose. And who runs Hollywood? Who makes movies? Is it white people or is it Jewish people? And guess what? You have Bollywood. You have all these other things where it's like only Indian people in your movies in your country that's predominantly brown or whatever. Nobody says anything because it makes sense. It's like, oh, well, yeah, a bunch of Indians in India, so why wouldn't they have Indians starring in their movies? But, you know, in white countries, there's like somebody who represents like 4% of your population. Like, why are they not like the leading role in all these fucking movies and this and shit? Like, fuck off. Like, seriously, fuck off. And you make a movie with a white person in it that's not even stealing, that's not even pretending to be another race, and they're like, we have enough movies about privileged white males, yada yada. And we gotta listen to this guy complaining about being starring in one of the most popular movies in a little while. And like a huge movie, Aladdin, for fuck's sake. You got to star in an iconic movie like that, and you're still complaining, but whatever. And people are going to take you seriously and use this as well as kind of like, hey, well, white people, white supremacy is kind of the result of this. But Will Smith is like, it's by design. It's like the universe, God, whatever you believe, design it to be hard, right? So, okay, all right. I guess he kind of, is saying it's God in the universe. So that kind of saves it. I spoke a little bit too soon. If so, you're having a hard time, it's because you're supposed to, right? So I kind of like that. Will Smith, what he said, it's kind of like, shut up, man. Just, it's meant to be that way. Stop complaining about it. I think in some way you might be kind of saying that, but it's funny what becomes an issue now in this world that we're living, and people will just say, oh, well, minority isn't that, they're just getting more of a voice, and that's why we're hearing more of this. But it's like, so what, they were always super racist or something, I guess. Like, they always really hated white people, I suppose so. The video can be found on YouTube. Oh, sorry. Tucker Carlson exposes Paul Singer and greed and globalist news. Yeah, I have it on my Discord as well. So everybody go to my Discord, like I said before. If you haven't already, there's a link in the description below as well for my BitChute account. If anything were to happen, in the future with BitChute, too many people think they would just be optimistic. Support this channel. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you for promoting the channel. I really appreciate that. Yeah, Aladdin is not even Indian, right? I don't know what that guy's heritage is. The struggle is real. Here, let me see here. Hey, Jay, I can't post the link in the chat. I'm not sure why. Maybe YouTube is just not allowing you to. Or you need a wrench? Oh, hey, boss man. How's it going, man? Long time no see. Fuck, my cat is meowing in the back like an asshole, and he's doing like that random low tone meow. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Hey, Mike Miller, how are you? Chris Rock is black, but not Poppy's chicken black. We are the minority, and the majority is trying to invade us. Oh, yeah. Essentially, right? AJ, how are the slaves, bud? Pretty good. They're good. They're eating well. They're fed. They're not hungry. Don't worry. They're strong. Like I said, one of them is going to be having a child soon, so I'm going to have another addition to the slave family very soon. And the only thing is they have to take care of it by themselves, and I'm not going to give extra resources. So, they got to divvy up their own food, right, to give it to this kid if they want to survive. But if they do that and it comes to adulthood, to like 15, 14, 16, whatever, then I'll start providing it its own food, and then I'll have another, good slave, right? But they're pretty good. Don't worry, I'm not worried. See, I'm glad you have trust in me. And for any liberals watching or something, if that happens to be the case, this is all a joke. Do not investigate my house. I'm going to have like the police come to my house soon and be like looking for Syrian slaves that went missing recently. And they'll be like, what the fuck? AJ has 3 half black kids. Hey, boss man, I told you not to tell anybody about that. And, shit like that is going to get you banned from my stream, man. Like, what the fuck? But let's see what else I have here that it's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, a lot of stuff from the UK. that is pretty stupid. But here's some more people complaining about white men. So this is Tressie McKillen Cottom. I don't know. Apparently Ryan won't get hired because check notes, he is a white male and we are all pretending this is a real thing that happens. He said that for every white male they interview, they're required to interview 2 women and 1 person of color. You're probably really talented, but that's just the way it is, right? So, she's just saying, this obviously doesn't happen in real life. But, I think we've all seen lots of examples of this happening in real life in the UK or in Canada, where they're like CBC, not looking for white males for this job or whatnot. But, when that happens, when positive discrimination happens, either you're not believed or it's laughed about, or they make excuses for it, essentially. Let's see here. Let's see what else is complaining about Canada. 1 second. I got a lot of stuff from Sweden as well too. AJ Syrian basement Epstein already called the RCMP feel the Syrian 6. But of course, William. Yeah, please don't call the police, guys. Please don't call the police. I really appreciate that. Okay, what do I got here? So, let's see. So this is a problem here that we have going on in Canada right now. And fake international students, this is from Post Millennial. Fake international students commit fraud to work illegally in Canada, immigration experts say. So it's something like 1/3 of the students coming into Canada are actually just going to work. And a lot of them are doing it in the transportation industry right away. Like, that Humboldt crash and the guy who killed those people is probably, and I'm pretty sure, was a result of one of these things. And I've already read a story about this a month or two ago. And I think it was in CBC Manitoba or something, where, they had this deal going on with the immigration people in Canada that direct them to these companies. And then the person pays them like $20,000 and then pays the company $20,000. And then that's kind of just like a pathway to citizenship if they work in this trucking company, and they probably get paid very little compared to what other people are getting paid, which just depreciates the wages for everybody. But, this is just a massive scam that's going on. And this has been increasing under Harper as well. Nearly 1/3 of international students were believed to not be enrolled in a Canadian school in 2015, according to a recent report from Statistics Canada. And an immigration expert says it's an elaborate scheme to bring in cheap illegal workers. So, that's just the ones that aren't enrolled. I'm sure a lot of them may be enrolled, but are still working a lot more than the 20 hours that they're supposed to be working. A lot of kids, including a lot from India, are coming here, and there is a structured, systemic racketeering operation going on to bring them here, knowing full well they're not students, and B, they're never going to study, said Borax. It's heavy-duty scam operation. They are destined to become illegal workers. The report said that the number of temporary residents with post-secondary study permits increased by 46% in recent years. The number went from 200,000 students in 2009 to 294,000 to 2015. The report said that this is an improvement from 2009, about half of all international students were believed to be enrolled in a post-secondary school, despite being in Canada on a study permit. So, it was even worse years ago, apparently, but maybe they've just gotten more savvy, right? Borax said that illegal workers posing as international students often go into jobs in the transportation industry. He said that these illegal workers have suppressed wages, taken jobs away from Canadians, and caused vehicle accidents. They have gutted the transportation industry, said Borax. Driving a truck was a well-paid job. It was an honorable job, blah, 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 right? So, yeah, in Winnipeg here, that's all I see now. Whenever I look at people in the trucking industry, driving trucks, that's all I see is Sikhs driving trucks. Like, that's it. That's all. But, let's see here. Ban going to crickets. I hate Toronto. Yeah, Toronto is turning into a shithole. LA isn't as bad as Toronto. I don't know about that. Why is Canada not kicking out real Nazi helmet? Overland is still here. I'm not sure what you mean there. Sorry, Trish. Finding a white person in the Bramalia city center is like trying to look for Waldo. You want to move? Yeah, Saskatchewan, Alberta. Those are probably good places to move. Maybe right now in the near future. I used to drop a trailer up in Mount Forest near the Psycho Yard. Let's see here else. What else I got? I got something from the UK here. I want to show a few things from the UK. But let's see here. So this is the police. And Leicestershire Police. We want all men to call out abuse and sexist language amongst their peers when they see it. Never commit, excuse, or remain silent about male violence against women, right? So I love the demographics they use. Like in reality, it should be some like Muslim guy who's talking to his like woman, his daughter, and or his son about not beating their kids and violently raping them when they choose to elope, or stoning them to death, like just what happened recently. I think it was in Pakistan. This 11-year-old girl was stoned to death because she was suspected of going to elope. Saw another girl who was going to report a rape or something, and she was burned to death by 5 people. I think it was in India or something, right? But no, let's show two white people who probably have the least amount of violence against women. but that's the real problem, guys. It's the patriarchy, the white male patriarchy. That's the problem, not the actual people that are beating and stoning women and shit that we are bringing into your fucking country. This is what you really got to worry about. I'm going to show a couple more things from the UK where they're trying to put people in prison for hate speech against Muslims, or they already have, or they're charging them, right? So here's one guy here. I'll show this. This is in the UK as well. So United Kingdom man jailed for anti-Islam post. A 22-year-old student has been jailed for 18 months after posting 17-minute rant on Facebook. A man who was dubbed a sad loner has been jailed for 18 months after posing a 17-minute rant against Muslim on Facebook. Louis Dugsbury, 22, a York St. John's University sports science student who has been expelled from the university, was reported to university administration by a fellow student after posting what has been called a call to arms against Islam. The university called the police after they were alerted of the post. Dugsbury was given an 18-month sentence for inciting religious hatred for a post that was made 2 years ago. Dugsbury was expelled from the university and was evicted by his landlord following the verdict. So he got evicted, expelled, not going to prison. Like, man, this is going to happen to Canada very soon, and you're going to see a lot of people deleting their histories of all the things they said because they're looking in posts from 2 years ago, that some 1984 person is going to report you to the thought police. And that's what it is. It's the thought police. It's like, oh, you can't have these opinions about Islam and about immigration, about what's happening in the UK, about the Rotherham rape gangs, about the violence, the increased knifing attacks that are going on. Like, let's admit it, guys. This is not, the knife attacks are not because of easy access to this, to knives with points on them. Dulling the ends of knives is not going to do anything. Reducing the amount of Muslims and diversity in your country is going to reduce the amount of crime. Like that's what's going to do it. I know you don't want to hear that, but it's just true. There were not acid attacks going on in England before bringing in a lot of Muslims. there wasn't a lot of FGM going on in Canada or a lot of these other countries until we brought in cultures that did that did female genital mutilation. You know, it's not rocket science, is it? Is it really that hard to understand? But, you know, now you got people being put in jail for 18 months. And this is just one guy. There's another person. Let's find this guy here. I think this is from, hold on a second here. Let's see. Left wing. Oh yeah, Swedish man. This is in Sweden. You know, it's getting as bad all over Europe. You know, this is not just in the UK. It's all over Europe. You know, the EU makes laws where I think it was considered hate speech now to say Muhammad is a pedophile. If you say Muhammad is a pedophile, that's now considered fucking hate speech. But this guy, Swedish man who insulted Muslim for threat to take over your fucking country, charged with a hate crime. So a 53-year-old Swede who insulted a Muslim man for posting a video threat to take over your fucking country was hit with hate crime charges. We Arabs are here to take over your fucking country, so go down on your fucking knees and suck my cock, you Swedish little whore, said the Arab man in an angry rant posted to Facebook. The 53-year-old guy responded with, disgusting Arab crabs disappear from here, he wrote. So that's it. He wrote that. And that was enough to get him a fine for hate speech. He was subsequently sentenced by Kristianstad District Court for hate speech against a protected group and forced to pay $22,200, roughly $2,300 US. The court argued that the man's comments were aimed at Arabs and not just at the individual. The man appealed the decision to the High Court, but was upheld, although his fine was reduced to $16K. In addition to another $800 SEK, he was asked to pay to the Crime Victims Fund. You know, so last year, 70-year-old woman was interrogated by police and later convicted for an anti-Muslim Facebook post in which she expressed fear that Islam was taking over the country. Earlier that year, 65-year-old woman who was previously the victim of a brutal beating by migrants was sentenced to prison for posting that the IQ level in Sweden will fall as a result of immigration. In another case, a 32-year-old woman from Gothenburg was interrogated by police, had her DNA taken, and was subsequently imprisoned for the crime of sharing a joke meme about Islam on Facebook. In 2017, a 70-year-old Swedish woman was prosecuted for hate speech for saying she saw migrants setting fires to cars, something that happens all the time in Sweden, right? So that's probably a racist trope that doesn't happen. And, you know, you're promoting hate speech by pointing to the crime and to the increase of grenade crime that's going on in Sweden. You know, it's increasingly now, the more you point to the problems that's going on, you get labeled as, you know, a racist, white supremacist, whatnot. You know, this is what they want. They want to silence you from speaking out, from saying anything. You know, you're a bad person. And white people are criminals too, and they're meth addicts and they do crime. Oh yeah, we know that. Okay, like that's irrelevant. It's about, why are we bringing more people in our country to commit more crimes that we don't need to commit? Like what? Like, oh yeah, well, you commit crime too, so why are you complaining about the people who have never been in your country, have never contributed to their country, don't pay anything to your country, are coming into your country and then committing more crimes? You have no right to complain about that. You have no right to complain about grenade attacks and increase in sexual assaults because you do it too, you know, and colonialism. I got this one thing from Winnipeg, and this one guy complaining about how the white kids were treated better in foster care system and whatnot. Whereas, you know, why even complain about this? A lot of the times, you know, some of the white kids maybe get treating better because they still have some family that is involved in their life. Kind of like my niece, who my brother is a piece of shit. And if it wasn't for us and my family, my mom and all that stuff, then these kids would be in foster care. And all the other siblings, her siblings, don't have that same type of family structure. So, they're not going to get to go. We took on one of their siblings who's not even related to us, and sort of raising them or essentially allowing them to live in a family and kind of raise them as our own. But the other ones are not going to get to go to my dad's and get to go and ride horses and get to go to the country and get to go to family dinners and stuff like that. It's not because of racism. It's because the mom chose to fuck a bunch of stupid men that are not going to be good, that don't have good families, that don't have people that are going to take the time to go out and do things with their kids, not because of racism and shit, right? And it's like what the foster cares, the foster parents, and I'm not saying some people are not racist and shit, and some of these foster parents, maybe some of them are probably racist to Aboriginals and don't like them or whatever. I'm sure that occurs too, but there's a lot of bad shit that happens to all different kids. And the problem is that a lot of the kids in the foster care system, like in Manitoba, about 90% of the people in the foster care system are Aboriginal, right? And that's not our fault. It's not the fault of colonialism and residential schools and all this crap. It's because you're drunks. A lot of people are drunks, drug addicts, and they don't take care of their children, and they end up being taken away like anybody else whose kids weren't being taken care of, right? And I'm not necessarily for the government coming and stealing your kids and shit. And sometimes it's worse and they do a bad job. And especially, sometimes kids may even be safer in like a fucked up home as opposed to a foster system where kids are being raped and shit in there as well, right? Oh, thank you for the donation, Raging Man. I really appreciate that. The difference is you won't go to jail for talking negatively about white people or Christians. They wouldn't need these laws if it wasn't true. Right. Exactly. Right. They don't want us to speak about the truth, the reality about crime and the differences between groups and whatnot. They don't want to point to it. Whenever you talk about Israel and you talk about Jews, and like I said about the media and how they're all overrepresented, if you talk about the overrepresentation of Jews in the media, then you're a fucking anti-Semite. If you talk about the overrepresentation of Jews in banking and all this other crap that is going on, then you're a racist and whatnot, right? I got this one article right here speaking about Jews, right? I got to show this. So the article, it's from, I think, the Washington Post. What is this? Machine learning. Wait. See you after jail. The words. Sorry. 1 second. I got to go. Fast Company. That's okay. I became part of the alt-right. 1 second, guys. One moment. Yeah, this is the one. All right. So I think this is it. Okay. So Fast Company. I don't know who the fuck wrote this, but this is written by a Jew guy, and he's apparently 16 years old, and he's talking about how he was influenced to join. So I became part of the alt-right at age 13, thanks to Reddit and Google. When I was 13, I was convinced that Jews controlled global financial networks and that Black Americans committed homicide at a higher rate than whites, which is true. I believe that the wage gap was a fallacy, which is true, fabricated by feminists. So this is clearly written by his mother, right? Clearly, I believe, and I was an avid supporter of the men's rights movement. I accepted all of the alt-right maxims. See, so a 16-year-old like wrote this. Do you really believe that? It says by anonymous, but then he refers to an article written by his mother in the same article. So unless she is also anonymous, which I didn't look at, then you're kind of doxing yourself. But whatever. A I saw as a Reddit moderator, who would make this kid a fucking Reddit moderator as well, anyways, but I believe that the wage gap was a fallacy fabricated by feminists, and I was an avid supporter of men's rights movements. I accepted all the alt-right's maxims I saw as a Reddit moderator, despite my Jewish upbringing in a liberal household with a tight-knit family that taught me compassion, empathy, and respect for others except for the goys. Okay, I added that last goy part, but come on, guys. Come on, we know. Okay. Now I'm 16 and I've been able to reflect on how I got sucked into that void and how others do too. My brief infatuation with the alt-right has helped me to understand the ways big tech companies and their algorithms are contributing to the problem of radicalization, why it's so important to be skeptical of what you read online. So, they're mad that the algorithms show you what you want to see, essentially, right? They're mad that the way the algorithms used to work, at least, was to show you things that you're, interested in, that is relevant to what you're looking for. If they were to go and try to change the algorithm, it would fuck everything up, right? They can blame it all they want, but it's like, no, people are just curious, and they're curious for information. And it's not always like, oh, it's the algorithm's fault, and if they never recommended that video to me, although the algorithm does help people, that's one of the reasons why they're going for it, because honestly, I've learned so much probably through YouTube, and thanks to the algorithm recommending all these different people that have similar ideas but are a little bit different or whatnot. And I've come across so many interesting people that way. So it works too good it works too good. And they're not going to be able to fuck it over. They're not going to be able to mess with it. I don't think so. My own transformation started when I was switched into the new school the middle of 8th grade. Like anyone pushed into unfamiliar territory, I was lonely and friendless and looking for validation and social connection. But unlike others, I found that validation on the alt-right corners of the internet, and the alt-right and the tech platforms that enable it became the community I needed, until I finally opened my eyes and realized it was turning me into someone who I never wanted to be. A few weeks after I started going to my new school, I noticed that a bunch of guys in my classes were browsing a website called Reddit. I didn't understand what the site was or how it worked, but I was desperate to fit in and make a mark in the new environment. I went up to one of those guys during the study hall and asked how to use Reddit. He helped me set up an account and subscribe to subreddits or mini communities within the Reddit domain. I spent the rest of that period scrolling through Reddit and selecting communities I wanted to join. That's how I discovered dank memes. At first, I only understood about half the post, yada, 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 right? So, essentially they're just demonizing social media, right? They're like, social media is the big bad boogeyman, because social media is the one. It's like an equalizer, right? It's like the handgun, right? Before the media is the one that they were the gatekeepers to say, hey, you're allowed to have an opinion, but you're not allowed to have an opinion. You're allowed to have an opinion, but you're not allowed to have an opinion. But social media came along. And this is why I just saw an article a while ago, and I have a video of some guy complaining about Trump and posting shit to Twitter. And he's like, we just have to react to this. And it's bullshit. Why do we have to react to his Twitter? And it's insane. And it's like they're mad that they're getting scooped, essentially. They're mad that they can't craft the message and show a crafted message of what he's actually saying on Twitter, because they can't. They have to show the full tweet, with everything. And then a lot of the times when it's information that he wants people to get out, he'll probably misspell something on purpose. I don't know how smart he is, but I think some of that time it's probably on purpose, because he knows the media is going to be like, look how dumb he is. He has a T in this word when there's no T. Ha ha ha, right? Is it working? Refresh page. What are you saying, Lone Wolf? Did you ask me a question? How do you like the overrepresentation of blacks in TV ads? It's just a part of the overrepresenting every other group, you know, and then every time you look in TV ads, it's like a white lady and a black man. They're always in the relationship. It's never a white couple. In Sweden, I think it was in Sweden. There's an article I read about this too. They were complaining that there was an article that was only white people, and they're like, "This is racist. This is like Nazis and shit. There's no brown people and stuff in this commercial." I'm like, "You're in Sweden. The majority of the people still live in Sweden." He was having issues, AJ. Oh, okay. Been at this a long time. Lone Wolf, you're a repeat offender. Boss man, Trump apologist. Trump appeals to people's low IQ. Okay. Typically, though, it's a lot of low IQ people that vote for the left, though. Honestly, though, that's they're the party of the poor. Shit. The average voter for Trump had the average income, I think, of $90,000. So they're actually we're above the average income. But it's not an apologist to say the media is going to report on anything Trump fucking says. You know, if he trips a little bit, that's going to be a huge issue. I can't remember a little while ago, even they were complaining about this, the media, and they were saying, is Trump doing this on purpose, or should we stop reporting on everything that he says? Because it's kind of making us look ridiculous. I forget who, I think it was Dale Turner. He's like this one guy that all he does is like fact check Trump on Twitter. That is like the majority of thing he does do. And you see it, you know, like they look ridiculous when they're fact checking things that are blatant jokes. And the regular people are like, okay, like, are you serious? I don't think so. Oh yeah, there's Black Fox. Are you kidding me? There's way too much. There's a massive overrepresentation of like people every other race on fucking TV. Media is all Mossad, right? You know, how many of them are white? People think a lot of people on TV are white, but I'm like, actually, they're Jewish. You know that, right? They don't even consider themselves white. So, is the Sharia blue shill? You should ban him. No, I won't. I won't ban Boss Man. You know, he's just the resident troll. But let's see more of this Jewish guy. And go a little bit further because, you know, he says a lot of nonsense. The article and videos I found all backed up what I was seeing on Reddit. Posts that asserted a skewed version of actual reality using carefully selected out of context and dubiously sourced statistics that propped up a hateful worldview. So it's hateful to believe that the Jews run the media, which is true. It's hateful to believe that some groups of people commit more crime than whites. You know, we can look at the most violent countries on the planet, or the most violent places, and we can compare the data and dubiously source statistics that people propped up a hateful worldview. Because, you know, the FBI statistics, what they'll say is that they're not properly sourced, as in a lot of it is voluntarily given, right? Which is true. So it allows them to say, like, okay, well, these are not full statistics. They're not legitimate. So you promoting this is hate speech, or it's false. It's wrong. It's propaganda, right? So they should tell the FBI to change that on their fucking website at the very least, because that's where people are getting it from. And if you promote these numbers on Twitter, be sure that you will be banned if you say that on Twitter. Because that is considered false information. Even though it's not actually false, it's still correct information. It's just not complete information, right? But he says, I understand algorithms be secretive bits of code that a website like YouTube will use to prioritize content that you are more likely to click on first. Duh. Because of all the content I was reading or watching from the far right sources, all the links that the algorithm dangled on my screen for me to click were far right perspectives. The alt-right's appeal started to dissipate that summer when I took a month-long technology break to go to a sleepaway camp before the start of my 9th grade year. But the biggest step in my recovery came when I attended a pro-Trump rally in Washington, D.C. in September 2017. about a month after the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, where counter-protester Heather Heyer was murdered by a white supremacist. I wanted to show my support for Trump while being able to finally meet the people behind the internet forums where I had found my community. After many tries, I finally managed to convince my mom to take me, telling, okay, this is all bullshit. Like, obviously, this never happened. Some 15-year-old convincing his Jewish mom, who she wrote about the experience in the Washingtonian, telling her I simply wanted to watch history unfold. But really, I was excited to meet the flesh and blood people who espoused alt-right ideas instead of talking to them online. It's funny, too, because a lot of people going to Trump rallies are not alt-right, you fucking idiot. But they want to make you believe that. A lot of them are just dumb idiots that are not that are neocons, that are not neocons, but they're just like civ nats and shit. And they're not into the whole alt-right shit. The difference between the online persona of someone who identifies as alt-right and the real thing is so extreme that you would think they are different people. Online, they have the power to fake and bias news to form their arguments. They sound confident and usually deliver their standards message strongly. When I met them in person at the rally, they were awkward or struggled to back up their statements. They tripped over their own words, and when they were called out by any counter protester in the crowd, they would immediately use a stock response such as, "You're just triggered." They couldn't come up with any coherent arguments. They rambled and repeated talking points. Okay, like this is, projection right here. This is projection of what happens in left-wing rallies with a bunch of transsexuals or leftist Antifa people that just like love, not hate. Love, not hate. You're a hate. You're a fascist. Punch a Nazi. Punch a Nazi. Like this is what you get from these people. But and you see like just these deformed soy boys and shit that attack people. Like they're the ones that don't have any opinions of facts or anything like that. Yeah, Clinton won 70% of the economy, right? 70% of the richest people that want to stay the richest people. Yeah, all the billionaires voted for Clinton. Does that tell you something? But Boss Man isn't exactly the sharpest tool in the shed, if you know what I mean. Yeah, but all the billionaires and globalists and guys who sell out our country like nothing voted for Hillary. So all the people that hide their money in overseas and shit voted for Hillary. Yeah, you got the people that are from socialist countries that are used to having a very poor class, which is all the poor people who voted for Hillary Clinton, with a very rich class of people that all voted for Hillary. Like, you see that. You see this shit all the time. Like, yes, the extreme rich and the extreme poor vote for the Democrats. What does this tell me about what is going on in society here? What do people get from the government? They get money and resources. What do fucking rich corporations get? They get subsidies. They get corporate welfare. What do poor people get from the government? They get welfare. They get corporates. They get subsidies and shit. And what do Democrats provide? What do they promise? What do liberals promise? That's what they promise. Educated in high speed. That's why his avatar is sports ball emblem. He's basically George Washington. No, I said the average Trump voter makes $90,000, right? And the only reason 70% of the richest people vote for Hillary is because of the billionaires that prop up the average of the poor people and the illegals and the Mexicans and whatnot that are voting for more socialism. But whatever, it's hard to understand. I get that. It's a little difficult for a lawyer who's apparently trained or something, which I don't believe you're a lawyer anyways, but whatever. Or even American or live in America. You know, I doubt your story, boss man, but I'll let you spin your story and shit, whatever. So what else is this? Struggled to back up their statements. He's like, so a large projection here. The rally left me with a bad taste in my mouth. See, this is probably Boss Man wrote this. He's this Jewish guy. He's the Jewish 13-year-old boy, or is pretending to be a 13 or 16-year-old boy, but it's really, it was his mother who wrote it. The rally left me in a bad taste in my mouth, seeing for myself that the people I was talking to online were weak, confused, and backwards. Was the turning point for me. At this point, we're too far gone to reverse the damages that the alt-right has done to the internet and to naive adolescents who don't know any better. Children like the 13-year-old boy I was, it's convenient for a massive internet company like Google to deliberately ignore why people like me get misinformed in the first place. So everybody still believes this is a 15-year-old who wrote this. As their profit-oriented algorithms continue to steer ignorant, malleable people. And boss man, are you going to call out this blatant propaganda? Come on, man. Like, this is from your side. This is from your group of people, not even the Jewish side, but like the left or the centrist, whatever you consider yourself. So you should be calling out these blatant lies, because I think you're smart enough to understand it. This kid didn't write this. You know that, right? But nobody's going to really fact check that. Nobody's really going to question it. My own situation was personally, but that's why it's anonymous, right? But don't forget that Dylan Roof, the white supremacist who murdered 9 people in Charleston, South Carolina church in 2015, was radicalized by far-right groups that spread misinformation with the aid of Google's algorithms. It all started when Roof asked Google about black on white crime. So this is why when you look up Google and shit for this stuff now, it's all heavily censored. It's really hard to find stuff. Why you got to use DuckDuckGo and other search algorithms. And even DuckDuckGo has shit that's not as great. But, you got to use different search algorithms because these ones are being heavily manipulated. And they admit to manipulating their algorithms oftentimes in support of, like, Hillary Clinton and leftist causes and all this other shit. YouTube is especially egregious offender over the past couple months. YouTube. What is YouTube? What was YouTube? It was giving a voice to people, to regular people like me and you, that to voice their opinions, to talk about things. And this is why it's like, okay, we got to shut this shit down, guys. We got to shut this down. The only opinions that are okay are opinions that come from the mainstream media. Everybody else is going to lead people astray, is going to lead people to violence. When the media is the one who gets you into wars, that lies to you about weapons of mass destruction in countries that have done nothing to you, and that result in you killing thousands of people, as well as your own citizens being killed, as well as creating the situation where now you have a bunch of refugees that are entering your country and using your resources, like what's being used in Canada and America and all this shit. And the media is the one doing this shit, leading people astray, lying to you, showing, like ABC showing a picture of a thing that happened, like a shooting event that happened in like Texas, pretended it was from what Syria or something. They lie continuously. What about the media holding on to information? Like, what was it, ABC again, about Jeffrey Epstein for 3 different years as he and other powerful men are abusing underage girls? What about the leading astray with that, with Jimmy Savile in America, with the BBC, and the UK with the BBC covering for that pedophile for all these years and shit? Well, that's not an issue. But hey, some YouTubers talking about crime that's happening in their cities, that's increasing, that's not happening from the original people that live there, is hate speech. It's bringing up, it's causing Dylan Roofs to appear and shit. We got to shut down YouTube. We got to shut down these people who are saying opinions that are not okay with us, right? News story about 2 immigrants who raped. Okay, I've been getting anti-immigration YouTube ads that feature an incident presented as a news story about 2 immigrants who raped an American girl. So let me guess, the immigrants are probably illegals. So it's an anti-immigration thing, right? About 2 immigrants who raped an American girl. So when we point to issues that's happening with immigrants that are happening in Canada, now it's anti-immigrant. But so when they point to anything that happens with white people, that's now anti-white now, isn't it? Because it's a problem, you're pointing to it. Like, it must be anti-white. News story about 2 immigrants who raped an American girl. You know, they should have never mentioned him being an immigrant. They should have said, like, 2 men raped girl, and the problem is the patriarchy and that's the real issue. It's like, or no, it's foreigners coming in and raping our women. That's also an issue. The ad offers no context or sources and uses heated language to denounce immigration and call for our country to allow ICE to seek out illegal immigrants within our area. So once again, immigrants, this is what the left does. They conflate immigrant with illegal alien. They say anti-immigration YouTube ads about 2 immigrants. Illegal aliens are not immigrants. Look up the word immigrant. It has a specific definition. Illegal alien has another definition. I was watching a video about immigration or even politics when those ads came on. I was watching the old Monty Python cheese shop sketch. How does British satire circa 1972 relate to America's current immigration debate? It doesn't. So I wasn't even watching anything to do with this, and it recommended me how horrible. Well, I get recommended a bunch of stupid shit too. If we want to stop destructive far-right and alt-right ideologies from spawning domestic terrorism incidents in the future, tech companies need to be held accountable for radicalization that results from their systems and standards. Google and YouTube should own up to their part in the epidemic, but I doubt they will. Ethics and morals have no meaning when millions of dollars are at stake that the America that I, along with millions of other Gen Z kids, are growing up in. Blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm a Jew guy and believe everything I say, right? You know, I don't. That's ridiculous. Fuck this guy. Fuck his bullshit article that was clearly written by his mother or something. AJ, my Syrian neighbor is popping kids like crazy. Yeah, it sucks, man. Fucking boss man, unequals. I thought you took away the monkey wrenches, AJ. I gave some back. Yeah, 72,000 a year. That's what I meant, 72. Whatever. 70,000, 90,000. It's pretty close. You lied. You lied. Acadian paid minimum wage to sow dissent and confusion. Quit being blackface. Okay, boss man, enough with your shit. Shut the fuck up, you stupid fucking faggot. Africa for blacks, Asia for Asians, white countries for everyone. Yeah, exactly, right? And you know, they're not your women. They're everybody's women. They get manuals and limited training, key phrases and things to say. It's easy to see them at this point. Their intersection with irrelevant inflammatory comments to try to derail convo. Yeah, exactly, right? Boss man is Mossad. He is Mossad. He's a Mossad agent, 100% paid for by Israel to come in and say a bunch of random shit. Same with Rakis News. He's also probably Mossad agent. I know it for a fact, 100%. Let's see here. Let's see what happened here. So this is also something that, you know, boss man will have an issue with me pointing to and probably be like, you're a racist. Jury convicts man of murder for mercilessly beating 82-year-old Scarborough woman, a grandmother. So, you know, I wonder if it would be a white guy beating a black woman. I wonder what the title would be. It'd be like, white man murders helpless black woman. But no, it's just this immigrant guy or whoever the fuck he is comes in, murders an 82-year-old innocent woman. But diversity is our strength, right? Diversity is our strength. Anytime something bad happens to Canadians, to white people, after the killing on the London Bridge, when a couple people got stabbed and shit or killed, you know what Sadiq Khan said? He said that diversity is our strength, right? And that is the strength of the city. But you know what? I don't even care about one of the guys who actually got killed in London, because he was actually helping that one guy try to get a lesser sentence in the UK, and he was trying to help this guy. Then he went out to try to calm him down. Then he got stabbed and killed. And I'm like, good riddance. We need less fucking idiots like you putting the rest of people in danger by trying to reform terrorists who want to fucking kill innocent civilians. Like I was watching Raging the other day. I think it was on ST, on Steve's channel. And he was talking about, a lot of these people are cowards. They're scum. They use women and children as human shields. They go and they don't go and they attack soldiers and they attack the bases and the military. They go and they attack women and children and they kill innocent civilians like this. They go out of their way to do that. They go out of their way to attack people who are like that. So, if you complain about that, you're racist, because you white people commit crime too. Only 2 days until Mossad shut everyone down on YouTube. News, a huge one, like Lone. It's Black Friday. Low intelligent adults tend to gravitate socially conservative ideas. The study found. I found a study that says things that I like, guys. Look at this study that says things that I like. Here, look at this. Look at this, guys. Self-hating white people are the biggest useful idiots. Yeah. Trump said to Macron, is he wanted some nice ISIS terrorists? He's copy pasting from a script. Yeah, I think so too. Because a lot of times I know what people are about to say, and I'm like, oh, here it comes. Has CSIS RP? Yes, the RCMP has come after me. Everybody hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Join my Discord too while you're at it. I'd like that a lot if you did. But here's something, Blair. This is another thing I want to show you guys. Okay, no. Here, let me see. This is about the gun grab that's going on right now. And Bill Blair, and what are they using as justification for this gun grab? Was an attack that happened 30 years ago. 30 years ago. You're like, well, a bunch of women died 30 years ago, so we need to act now and take away everybody's guns. Public Safety Minister Bill Blair says a list of military-style assault weapons that will be prohibited in Canada will be released as quickly as possible. Blair said he's developing a list of prohibited weapons that will include specific make models and descriptions, he added. However, that he did not want to say yet which guns are going on the list to avoid a spike in sales before the ban takes effect. What I do not want to precipitate is individuals going out and acquiring those weapons before the publishing of the list, he said, adding that a very clearly articulated list of prohibited weapons will be coming as quickly as possible. That this is for what? Again, this is a response to the whole women that got killed like 30 years ago, and obviously the rising crime that is going on in Toronto. But look at the Toronto most wanted list. It's all black. Look at all the people that are killing people in Toronto. They're all black, okay? I know you don't like this. I know people don't like to hear this. But that's what's causing the crime in Toronto. It's diversity. It's diversity, okay? I'm sorry to say, if there were less black people in Toronto, the crime rate would go down. If there was less Muslims there, the crime rate would go down. Anything else, taking away our guns, taking away people's means to protect themselves, it's just an excuse. Obviously, they don't care about protecting us. They don't want to protect us. These people are globalists. You know, they don't care about Canadians and our safety. They care about getting a bunch of people over here and you know, changing the demographics of the people and shit. They don't care if we're safe. They don't care if they put us in harm's way, because they're going to be in their safe communities, in their gated communities where they don't have to deal with any of the issues that they're importing into Canada, which is just putting all of our lives in danger. And you got a bunch of useless or useful idiots as well behind that, you know. But, you know, this is a thing from Global News, and they're talking about, like I said, those 30 women that were killed. And now they're talking about how women of color face discrimination or something, right? Here, let me see this. It's like a little video here. Let me share. One moment. Global News. So in this episode of Living in Color, we take a look at violence against racialized women and how cultural barriers, community stigmas, and racial stereotypes can normalize abusive behavior. So it's like, you know what? It has nothing to do with racial stereotypes or anything to do with us in Canada. Look at your own fucking countries and how you treat women. You do it way fucking worse, okay? Like, you just treat them like shit. And then they want to come here and talk about, oh, it's we don't talk about it for this and that reason. It's like, no, because you come from India, because you come from Pakistan, because you come from this country. It's nothing to do with racialized women. It's like, you know, your own cultures are shit. You're importing that shit into Canada. And then we have to hear your perspective about what it's like to be a racialized woman. Who gives a fuck? Okay, you're here voluntarily, first of all, so I don't care. If you don't like it, you can go back to wherever you came from, to be honest. And a lot of the women complaining about this shit here that are old stock Canadians can also shut the fuck up a lot of the times, because they're complaining about stupid shit. Like, oh, you hold the door open for me, and that's sexist and patriarchal and all this other nonsense. You know, just be thankful for where you live, okay? Be thankful that a lot of in European culture, they created chivalry until a bunch of women came. Actually, that's sexist, and you know, you shouldn't do this for women, and you know, that makes, you're not on like the equal terms with them. But hey, man, how many other cultures have that? Okay, you know, their chivalry is like, you better shut up or I'm gonna beat you senseless and beat you with rocks if you don't shut the fuck up. So, you know, be thankful. But you know, once again, like, I don't care about their opinions in Canada and how their experience are and shit. I really don't. You know, what about the men and the men who are getting killed and by the workplace and safety or violence, or they're the ones that are being killed more so than women by assault or all this other crap? What about, you know, all this other shit? You know, there's plenty of things dealing already with women's issues. You know, I just saw a new hospital in Manitoba the other day being built just for women. A women's hospital. They're like, how many men's hospital are there? Like, none. It's like, no, there's none. How many men's shelters are there? There's one men's shelter here a little while ago, and it was in fear of closing down. And, you know, luckily a lot of people were able to donate, but there's like one, and there's hundreds of women's shelter. And you're like, okay, man, like, you know, enough of this bullshit. Like, we're still complaining about something happening 30 years ago. Like, when I was born, literally, I was born in 1989, and they're talking about something that happened when I was born. And, you know, women are treated way better than men are treated in our civilization, in Western society. And any woman who complains that they have it hard, I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Seriously, just shut up. You have it so easy in our country. Like, you know, women get promoted easier. If you compare single women to single men, they get paid more than men. The list goes on and on. Like, for example, my mom and my dad divorced, right? And, my mom, I didn't know this until recently, but she was getting, like, my dad had to give 75% of his gross income to my mom. And I grew up on fucking food banks, living off of food banks and fucking charity from people and being poor as shit growing up, barely having a lunch, barely eating and stuff some days. And I'm like, where did all that money go? Where did my dad? He was working in the oil rigs, slaving himself to fucking death, working 8-9 days a week straight. A lot of the times, 2-3 days off. And then 75% he could just make his house payment, And then, all this money is going here while, like, somehow my mom is apparently getting all this money, and then we're starving and shit. And, it's, and then still, they get treated like, oh, you're a single mother. You're great. You're this, you're amazing. And all that crap, where it's like, no, man, we need to start shaming people again, shaming women, shaming men, whatever, who have premarital sex, who have kids out of wedlock. We should start calling their offspring bastards, it's for a reason and shit, because it's not good. It's not good for society, civilization at all, pitting men and women against each other. And it's just completely unfair. And like I said, I keep seeing things about how women are oppressed in Canada and how they have it so hard. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you're like the most privileged people on the face of the planet. The most privileged people on the face of the planet. But people still complain. AJ was raised on craft dinner. Yeah, exactly, man. I was raised on fucking, man, I was paying rent when I was 16 years old. I was working since I was 13 years old. I was working 5 days a week. Some days I go to work right after school and work till 11 or 12 o'clock at night, and then come home, and then I pay rent. I was paying rent at 16 and shit. And then apparently my mom's getting all this money, probably from the government as well, from my dad. And then I'm not seeing a fucking cent. I didn't see a fucking dime of that shit. Right. But, and then now I'm giving more of my money away. Like, I got her calling me every once in a while, every fucking couple of weeks, 3 weeks, being like, hey, can I borrow $200? I'll swear I'll pay you back. And then I pay, and then I never get it back, right? So it's like, fuck, man. And I have to just stop giving money away to people, because I'm just throwing it away to people who, are supposed to be your family and shit. But all they use you for is a fucking is a bank, right? And a lot of women can't take care of themselves, and that's just a fucking fact of reality too. And they need a partner to fucking take care of themselves or something. Otherwise, they're just depending on everybody else and their kids and shit. But I'm not saying there is a problem with violence against women and stuff like that too. Like, obviously I'm against any of it. And if any of that stuff happened to a woman in my family, and I'm obviously against it in shit, and those people should be apprehended, put in prison. But as we treat women better and better, it somehow appears like we're treating them worse and worse when we listen to people complain about patriarchy and sexism and stuff in Canada or wherever they're from, right? Here, let me play the video though, because it's pretty dumb.
By telling you why we're doing this series, and it's to commemorate the 30th anniversary, the 30 years since the Montreal Massacre. Do you think in the past 3 decades anything has changed? Are we talking about this more? What have you noticed? Yami, I'll start with you.
I think that we have been talking about it in ebbs and flows. So in 1989, we have the Montreal Massacre. We have over a dozen women that are killed because they are women.
What I don't get too is that the massacre killed primarily white women. Why the fuck are we talking to women of color about they're racialized. It's like, okay, a bunch of white women died, so let's talk to a bunch of black and brown women about sexism that they face. It's like, oh, because probably if they didn't include this or didn't do that, they'd be labeled as racist or some bullshit, right?
We have the surgeons of Anita Hill in the early 90s, and then we have the Me Too movement, just a couple of years ago. And so I think when we think of conversations around gender-based violence, specifically around cisgendered women, that it is something that comes in ebbs and flows. And we ask that question, is it new? But no, it's not new. It's just, is it going to be the flavor of the month, quite frankly?
Well, now you work in the space of human trafficking. You're a survivor yourself. Has that conversation?
One thing I don't like about this way they phrase human trafficking too is that it takes away all liability or all agency from the woman, and they're acting like they're just there, and people are just grabbing them and throwing them into the markets of sex and being like, hey, you do this for me. And I'm not saying that has never happened or people aren't groomed from a young age, because that does happen too, but there's some agency too on these women's part. And it's like, no, it's sex work. They're prostitutes and they're prostituting themselves out for money. Okay. It's not, I was a human traffic victim. It's like, no, you were a whore on the fucking side of the road saying you're going to suck some dick for $50. Okay. But I'm a victim of human trafficking. No. Children who are put in those situations are victims of human trafficking, but you don't even want to address that because it's probably like, oh, what's the race of the people doing the human trafficking? Oh, okay, they're white. Okay, we can talk about it. But if they're not, then let's not even mention the race. Or better yet, if it's a bunch of Muslims, then we'll just sweep it under the rug and not even talk about it for fucking years. We'll do that. Everybody hit the like button, share, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Changed. I've seen a dramatic change within, I think, the discussion on human trafficking, particularly with sex trafficking. And I think the Me Too movement has been vital for that. And I feel more people are coming out, more people are talking about this, and there's more survivors. However, within spaces of women of color, I don't see that conversation as much.
Why do you think that is?
I think there's an added shame and stigma with Black women to talk about something about being a survivor of sex trafficking. Because even if you are believed, I think there's always that thought of, are people going to care? Is there going to be empathy for me if I share my story?
Jenny, you're nodding your head as well. Talk to me about your story and specifically how cultural stigma and barriers played a part in it.
I think with response barriers, there's many barriers that women of color and women in general go through when they're.
What barriers that you face that other people don't face? Like people are not going to believe you. Like the only barriers you face more are the ones that come from your community, where they're like, "Oh, if you say anything, we're gonna beat you with rocks." It's the only barrier you're fucking facing. Probably, it's like, what do you want me to do about it? Like, go back to your own country and bring your tribal shit back there. Okay, I feel really bad about women and stuff like that and how they're treated in these countries. I do, but. That's not my problem. Okay, that's not my problem. I don't want to make it my problem. I have enough problems in Canada. If I do make it my problem, then it's like, what do they call that? They're like, oh, you're white knighting, or not white knighting, but you're like, oh, I've seen so many articles written about how it's low-key racist, or it's actually more racist for these white people to go to these countries or to try to help these people in their situation, because they're like, that's their culture. What are you doing? Stop trying to change their culture. And if they want to throw women on pits of fire after their husband dies, that's their choice. And you're like, okay, all right, fine. It's like, well, why aren't you helping these people? It's because they're women of color. And if they were white women, then you would be at the front of the cause for this, blah, blah, blah. And like, there's no winning. So just stay out of my country. And deal with your men that do shit to you in India. I didn't put that dot on your forehead. I didn't force you to do that.
Experiencing sexual violence, including like not having the language to speak about sexual violence within your own community. I think sometimes we...
What does that mean? What does that mean, not having the language to speak about sexual violence in your own community? So is there different language for different communities that you need to use to address sexual violence or something in different communities? Like, no, hey, don't assault women. Don't rape women. Bad. That goes for, like, what more complex? How more complicated do you have to make it? Okay, well, we gotta specify it and tailor it for this community. Otherwise, they're not going to understand it. And if there's all this rape going on in their community, it's actually our fault, because we should be giving them the proper language to address it, because they don't have the language, even though they should know English. They should know English in Canada. You should know how to speak our language.
We grow up not knowing what words to describe what's happening to you, right? I didn't know what was happening to me as a survivor of childhood sexual abuse and incest for a very long time. And on top of that, there was so much taboo and stigma associated with going through sexual violence. So when I was able to finally disclose, it was not in my own tongue. It was not to my own community in a way that they would understand.
So you're saying the word...
You would be killed. What's the issue here? Like, you're mad that you couldn't say it in your language? I don't think it didn't talk to fucking your people about that. I don't know. Tell them to come up with language or something. What? I don't get it.
Words didn't exist? Like, you were never taught kind of the words?
The words, I'm sure, do exist, but they're just not spoken about because they're so hidden and
don't touch me. Don't rape me. There.
Stigmatized, and I don't feel
rape.
That, like, we don't...
Rape is bad. Incest is bad. You know, I legitimately feel bad for what happened to this girl. Like, that's terrible to have incest and all this crap happen to you. But I don't see why there's these barriers or something. Report it. You know, you being silent is helping these criminals assault and abuse more people. But
we don't teach our young kids these words to say, my relative, my uncle, my aunt touched me here or violated me in this way. Like, we just don't know how to talk about it.
Yeah, and I can agree with that in some circumstance. Like, there's a lot of silence around child abuse and stuff, and that is true. And adults and parents and teachers and people, we need to observe the signs and try to spot out kids that are being abused, regardless of their race. Like, I'm not gonna, if I see an Indian girl and she's being abused, I'm not gonna ignore it because she's Indian or something. But it's good to notice the signs of these things and to say something. Don't ignore it. If you hear something in your apartment building of, don't be quiet, because that is a big problem in society. And this happens in a lot of different cultures, not just their culture, where we're silent on the abuse that children face, and they, have nowhere to turn, right? So, that is true, but I just don't understand how they made this issue into like about racialized women and the barriers they face. Like, what barriers? It's all these implications that the news makes, right? Like, how it's there's these invisible barriers for women of color in these majority white countries, right? It's like, no, there is no barrier. Okay, you just come and report the crime like anybody else, and it's going to be the cops are going to look into it like anybody else's fucking crime. BS. We teach kids a lot. We don't teach our kids to specifically say someone touched them without context. Boys and men can get sexually abused as well. Yeah, exactly. Right. We teach, I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of assault that goes on with children that does get ignored and shit. Right. You've hit that little button 10 times. It's hard to make it stop button. Seems like common sense. Sex is a vice. Prostitution should be legal. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It should be legal. I don't think it should be illegal. Stop being abused, AJ. Well, I wasn't really abused growing up, but just neglected. But neglect is a bad thing, right? And we should not be neglecting children and neglecting things that happen to them, right? And that, I think, is a big problem in society, that we do, just look the other way. What else do I have here? So this is from Winnipeg here, another thing to do with racism. And, I just want to show you guys this video here. Hopefully it plays.
I never really understood why I got treated differently than the other foster kids I lived with. In our temporary families, we fought each other in a war for affection, attention, love, and respect. Why did the foster kids with the white skin get nicer clothes, more food, and better opportunities? Why did they get to play sports and go to weekend camps, and I didn't? I never thought it was because of my heritage.
It wasn't. Like this guy's not that old. So what, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we just weren't allowing you to go to camps because you're native. And this is the shit that gets promoted on CBC, right? This narrative that, oh, he's just living in this structurally racist society where native kids are oppressed for being native and blah, blah. And it's like, man, the real issue is coming from oftentimes your own community, right? And it's not to say that the government and policies and whatnot have not exacerbated the problem in many communities, right? And have not facilitated the rise of certain things, right? They provide negative incentives, but just because somebody gives you something doesn't mean you have to take it as well too, right? So, lots of people could go on welfare, but a lot of people don't go on welfare. But then again, you got to look at, you can't be too mad at people in some sense, in some ways, because, some people do have like a low IQ and they're not going to be able to do much work. I'm not saying that makes it okay for them to go on to the system, but they're going to be making as much money on that than they are sometimes going to be making in the private sector, which currently is not very good because of mass immigration and all this shit, where, a minimum wage job, these low skilled jobs that some of these people can get, the only jobs that they can get, are not going to pay them a living wage, right? So that is something also to consider, right, too, right? If we didn't have this mass immigration, then maybe these jobs would be more enticing to people, because then at least they could provide them a living wage and extra money, right? Because you don't get a lot of money from the government, right? You're not living rich off of welfare, right? A lot of these people supplement their income with crime, right? They sell drugs on the side, they do whatever, but it's just a fucked situation in general.
I grew up in homes where the family ties were already tied by the time I moved in. They called me an outsider, the newcomer, and the one who always left and never returned. This always made me feel like something was wrong with me, like maybe I'm broken and nobody wanted to.
For fuck's sakes. Yeah, I feel bad for you, dude. I feel bad, but it's not white people's fault. Society's, right? It's kind of your parents for not neglecting you. We just skip ahead here because it kind of looking stupid videos.
Like maybe I'm broken and nobody wanted to fix me. When you're a child in the CFS system, you become a permanent ward, which means you were taking care of people employed by the government. So I never called any of these people out.
Son of a bitch.
Lived with mom or dad. And I moved around a lot because my workers weren't great at finding me permanent places. For some time, I went to elementary school in a small
God damn it. Sorry, guys. Fucking
rural town. I was the only colored kid there. My teacher sat me in the back of the class and told me not to converse with my classmates. I was 12. One day in the playground, a group of girls and boys said they didn't like me because I didn't look like them. They vowed to never talk or play with me. They all kept their word.
Fucking whore. Goddamn fucking YouTube.
Even though I was just a kid, I tried to understand why these things were happening to me. As I grew up and continued to see this behavior, I began putting the pieces together. Once I escaped
from
my teenage years, I started to hang around my own people. And the worst part, they called me white boy, even though my skin was brown. I wouldn't go out and fight with them when they had beefs in the neighborhood. I wouldn't sell the drugs they were giving me. And I didn't treat the girls like garbage.
So they called you white boy because you didn't treat the girls like garbage and you didn't sell drugs and you didn't do bad shit. You know, like, see, that's just not a good endorsement of this current culture that's going on in a lot of these people's lives, right? You know, it's very similar in America where like some black kids will be called white for going to school and studying and being good. See, it's this crabs in the bucket mentality. You know, he even frames it right here. You know, but you know, see, doesn't feel connected in either side, right? You know, it just shows you multiculturalism doesn't fucking work. You know, because now from being around a lot of white people, they kind of whitened him up a little bit. Now he can't even fit in with his own people. And he feels like all white people are racist towards him. So, you know, it leads to very confused.
So I wasn't one of the guys. When you grow up the way I did, you come across other indigenous and you kind of expect them to treat you better. I don't want to point fingers or put anyone in the crosshairs, but this is my truth, my story. I live racism. Others witness it. So I speak, I educate, I share my story. And I pray for my people. And I pray that this is not a never-ending war, one that will fade the more we stand up together and combat it.
Yeah, so stand up against native racism, the native racists who are calling you white for being, you know, going to school and not selling drugs. Like, you know, that's the racism you got to kind of fight against. Let's see here. Well, everybody hit the like button, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's see here. Let me check out the chat. Probably different. AJ exactly should blame his parents first. Yeah, exactly. I blame my parents first when it comes to the situation that I was in. I'm not blaming, never blame the government. It's my parents. When did Canadians start seeing the color of skin? Right. Exactly. You know, and we've been taught for such a long time, don't see the color of people's skin. But now if you don't see that, that's actually racist now. 4 years ago, skin color started to matter. Right. Well, you have to notice how minorities are very oppressed. And if you don't see that and you look at everybody the same, then you're not going to be able to notice how much more oppressed other people are compared to white people. It's like, well, you have the privilege to not see race because you have everything's given to you or something. You're like, what do you want from me? Do you want me not to see race? Do you want me to see race? Do you want me to acknowledge it or not? For fuck's sake. It's like, there's no winning with these people. So you just be you be the person that you are. Treat people however you treat people, you know, based on their individuality, and fuck anybody else. And whether they say that is racist or anything like that, you're like, no, go suck a dick. But then again, you know, I do see race anyways. Like, I'm not an idiot. People, you should see race. Not when you're dealing with individuals, but when you're looking at differences in society. You know, the left looks at race all the time, constantly. They're always like, well, what about this community doing worse than this community. Look at white people. They're in all of these things. They're overrepresented in this and that. Right? So they're always looking at race. And when I look at race and look at the disproportionate representations in crime or this or that or whatever, then, oh, well, that's racist. That's bad. You shouldn't be looking at differences when it comes to that. What's he complaining about? Natives are direct awarded all contracts in BC. Start making Jews with the star and get the show in action. They want us to snap. They are pushing us to boogaloo. I once saw a black face on a white privileged guy. That's what I think too, Spy. Good character, has no color. What else do I have here? Also, 1 second. Taxpayers video left. Well, here's something to do with America, right? I haven't actually watched the video yet, but I guess we can watch it together here. Let's talk about demographic replacement going on in the States. So, video, left wing admits demographics are destiny. Media demonizes conservatives who say the same thing as racist. So kind of what we were talking about, the left, they can point to differences in races and how this group is overrepresented here, and that's not racist to talk about. It's not racist to say anything like that. But when we talk about demographic replacement and how we're going to be replaced in the future, well, that's a conspiracy theory. But the left, unless you're talking about it like openly, like it's a good thing and it's great, then you can, right? So let's hear what this woman has to say here.
So that when we get to 2040,
it's pretty low, so let me turn it up a bit. Oh, sorry, 1 sec, guys. Fucking. All right. Raise that a little bit.
so that when we get to 2042 or 2045, whatever year you want to use, that we actually will not be suffering from what other countries like South Africa have, which is having the numbers but not having the power. We want, people say demographics are not destiny. Well, we're trying to make it destiny. Yes. So that's the work that we're doing.
Amen. And that's a perfect note to transition to the next piece, which is intersectionality.
You heard her, guys. So it's not going to be like South Africa where all the whites have the power and whatnot. Demographics is destiny, like she said. In the American system, where one person, one vote, they're going to have the power, and the minority groups are going to have the power. And this is all what it's about. It's all about power. That's it. And a lot of people see that and they see, okay, it's all about numbers in America. That's why I'm not for democracy, because it's just mob rule at the end of the day. It's just mob rule. And then demographics like this do matter a lot. Having numbers and being bred out by other groups really matters at this point when it comes to voting. Because, people will say voting doesn't matter. Oh, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter to these people. Why do you think they're so adamant about going out to vote? Why do you think that they're so happy that the demographics are changing? And like this woman says, voting is destiny, or demographics is destiny, etc. Right? Like, country is going to change. The things are going to change. The laws are going to change. Voting does matter. And a lot of the boomers and whoever people that are nihilistic and who choose not to vote ever, oftentimes, or vote for stupid parties like the conservatives, they're just screwing themselves over, especially in the democratic system that we have right now, where voting does matter. 30% of Canadians, I think it was, didn't vote in the last election, in the election before that, because, they feel like everything is the same. And, I think before the PPC came along, whether or not you think they're legitimate, they were actually offering a different platform. So a lot of those people did have something to vote for afterwards, right? But, voting does matter, and it matters to these people, and it's going to allow them to have more of a foothold in the country. And they know this, and we should really understand this very soon, because they're telling us. AJ, are you an atheist? Yes, I am an atheist. Canadian played militia. Rants, watch you kill the PPC and the board for anyone who didn't understand. This is called this and that. Rants, it's more of a ball cut. Is Rants here? Oh, okay, there's Rants. AJ has a mangina. Fuck you, Rants. I'm not an Anapol Saxon. Stop being oppressed, AJ. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go for a longer? Wait, AJ, are you going to go on for a longer? Yeah, I'm going to go on for longer here. Fuck that, I'm a ginger. That mofo can fix himself before he can blame anyone else. Everybody hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. I love you too. I love you too, Faye. I love you. Did I say something bad about you? Oh, it's probably like when I said conservatives, but like voting for... I'm you know what? It's not... I'm not blaming you. I'm sorry. I love you, Faye. You're all good. But I just mean the people who are not voting and stuff, and I think that... why are these people so adamant about voting? Why are they so happy about it? If it doesn't fucking matter, it seems to matter to me. Seems to be like something that we need to take seriously. Full anti-UN next election. Yeah, I agree with you, Spy. I unlike this video for the pleasure of liking it again. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Thought Drifter, man. I appreciate that. But everybody, hit the follow me on Discord again. I'm going to put the link in the chat as well. If you guys want to, you can follow me on BitChute as well. Here, I'm going to bring that up too. But follow me on Discord. I got a lot of stuff here. Let me share my Discord to show you guys, kind of how it looks and stuff, and kind of try to entice you to come here a little bit. So yeah, as you can see, I got all the different topics. So I've got, welcome newcomers. This is the most interesting thing. So I've had a couple people join me since the stream started. Only 2 guys. Come on, let's get a little bit more here. But check it out. I got America news, Canada news. So I've shared a bunch of stuff here. You got Poopsie. It's one of the moderators. He's sharing some stuff. Car Ninja, Poopsie. A lot of interesting stuff to do with Canada here. New stuff constantly. World news, American news, China, United Kingdom. So I got some stuff there. I got nature, animals. If you like stuff to do with nature, look at this guy's got a bear. Walks into his house. That's Poopsie who shared that. He's hugging him. That bear. And another. But no, I like animal videos and shit. So who doesn't? If you got some conspiracy stuff you want to share, come here. Alex Jones or some creepy pictures. Look at this picture. Look at that. Like, that's pretty creepy. I gotta admit. So come here. Check out this, man. This is Trudeau. I'm probably gonna get removed for showing that, but a lot of interesting stuff here. Survival skills. You want some revolving shotgun. How to use aluminum foil. Look at this guy made primitive bricks. I got some stuff to do with science, history, culture. How the Romans made perfect roads, hunger, and the late Bronze Age collapse. This was a really interesting video. I recommend you go check this one out. Hunter, and it's by the study of antiquity and the Middle Ages. You can only see it if you join my Discord. And then, health. If there's stuff about health you guys want to share. Also, I got, Canadian, American YouTubers. So if you want to promote different YouTubers from America, Canada, you can do that. You can also come to the announcements and advertisement. So you can post, if you're doing a stream, if you're a YouTuber and you want to post hey, this event is starting at 6 o'clock, come here. You know, you can come to events or, hey, check out this person, whatever. You know, I got anti-white racism. So a bunch of stuff with anti-white. See, look at this girl. God, I hate old white people. Thank the Lord they're a dying breed. And then look, I'm a writer for Big Mouth. 230K likes, 14,000 retweets. So this is what happens. You know, imagine if she wrote, God, I hate old black people. Thank the Lord they're a dying breed. Do you think she would be hired to run for the media or to be a journalist for some, you know, media and get all these likes? You know, if the person was white and they got the same job, you'd have a bunch of people scouring their social media looking for something racist, like they did with that guy from SNL, who they're like, oh, he said some word, or I can't remember. He said something about Asians a year or so ago, so he can't work at SNL anymore. But people like this, I'm sure somebody found this, obviously, but that's not going to make them fire her. Just like we saw Sarah Jung being hired for saying this shit. So it doesn't matter how racist you are to white people, right? So yeah, I put a bunch of anti-white stuff, but you know, look at this. See, this is the commercials you see. Black man, white woman. Durex, red, the fight is on. You know, our race is the master race. We are divine gods on this planet. We are different from the inferior races. They are from insects, other races and beasts and animals, cattle are best. Our destiny is to rule over the inferior races. The masses will lick our feet and serve us as our slaves. Medican Begin, I don't know who that is, some Jewish guy, but look at this other Jewish woman, Jewish activist. The white race is the cancer of human history. Look at this guy, Tim Wise. You white people are on an endangered list, and unlike, say, the bald eagle or some exotic species of muskrat, you are not worth saving. In 40 years or so, maybe fewer, there won't be any more white people around, and that's a good thing. But see, he gets away with saying this because he looks white, and he's like, I'm a Jew, and realistically, he doesn't. But he, you know, we're not the same people as him. He doesn't consider us the same people. Imagine saying about any other group of people, you would be like demonized like hell. This guy, Ignatieff, Noel Ignatieff. Some guy is named Ignatieff in Canada too. The goal of abolishing the white race is on its face so desirable that some may find it hard to believe that it could incur any opposition other than from committed white supremacists. So anybody who's against us being eradicated must be white supremacist, like we're all being labeled right now. Make no mistake about it, we intend to keep bashing the dead white males, the live ones, and the females too. See, guys, we don't hate white people. It's we hate the white construct. Well, it says here, bashing white live ones and white women, live ones too. He's not making a distinction. Oh, we're only talking about America and the American people. It's like, no, it's white people. Until the social construct known as the white race is destroyed. See, the social construct, just cover bullshit, nonsense. And look at this thing. This is a while ago. I've seen it. I showed this on my what do you call it, on my feed a little while ago. But it's like, why don't we kill more white people? It says. I got a copyright for showing this.
Why don't we murder more white people? Take one.
I don't know. Okay, I'm going to show this because I don't know if you guys maybe have not seen it. It's definitely worth showing. Here, one sec. Why don't we kill more white people? Shut the fuck up. Anti-racism. Hold on a sec, guys. 1 second. I gotta find it again. Okay, that's what it was. It was a tweeter. It was a Twitter link. That's why. Tweeter link. Babette. So watch this shit. Like, what? This stuff that's allowed to be on TV. It's not an issue.
Why don't we murder more white people?
Why don't we murder more white people? I've showed this before, but in case.
Don't murder more white people because it's very dangerous to do so.
I love that. You know, I think we don't kill more white people because it's very dangerous to do so, and they may like retaliate on us. So if we take away all of their guns and take away and make sure that it's a crime to protect yourself, then maybe it'll be easier to kill white people. Then maybe it'll be less dangerous, you know. But because right now they have the right to defend themselves in America and stuff, you know, it's just too dangerous. Like that's your reason why you're not killing more white people. Like that's fucking insane. Imagine if I said that. Well, why aren't you not killing more? I don't even want to say the word because I'll get banned. People of color or something, right? Black people. Why aren't you killing more black people? Well, because it's dangerous to do so. It's a dangerous thing. You know, if it wasn't so dangerous, I would be killing them. And obviously, I'm not saying that in real life. I'm saying what I'm trying to mimic what these people are saying, but somebody's going to take that out of context.
Ways that people of color are murdered psychologically, right?
You're murdered psychologically, like the natives are killed in Canada by genocide of 1 million cuts. Fuck you, Twitter, but you guys get it. They're just kind of like, well, why can't we kill more white people? And, you know, this is kind of stupid, guys. You know, what message are you?
More white.
What message is this?
Murdered psychologically, right? Murdered in their character, in their expression of self.
I think white people are terrified of me. I'm not, for the most part, a fearful-looking man, but I noticed that whenever I go somewhere across the street.
I'm angry at white people most of the time. Most of the time.
White people are pieces of shit, and we hate them because they're racist, and we gotta take them out once they become less armed and dangerous. You know, they cross the street when they see me because black people disproportionately probably mug them. But, you know, that's racism and blah, 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 right? Like, Jesus Christ. But, you know, this is the type of stuff. But, you know, you'll find this stuff on my Discord, guys. You'll find that on my Discord. So come to my Discord right now. And when I get banned from YouTube after saying my hate speech and shit like I just did a minute ago, you'll have some place to reach me. Here's the link again. Here's the link. Follow it. Go to it. Embrace it. Cherish it. Love it. You know, all that good stuff. Like I said, I got a bunch of different categories that you guys can go to and whatnot. I guess I'll cover a little bit more stuff to do with Canada here. I know Derek's and whatnot stream will be starting maybe an hour. I still got an hour, so you know I'm gonna go on for a little bit longer. If you guys are okay with that, if you want to keep going, press F in the chat. If you're down with that, why are these losers? AJ White Rap. Unpredictable, violent, burn it down, fuck these liberals and fuck their families. I only use Telegram. Yeah, I like Telegram. I use it as a place to send a bunch of information and whatnot. But other than that, I don't like it as a place to go in for information because it's just one huge thing, right? And if you follow somebody, you have to scroll through for like an hour and read shit. Whereas in Discord, I have it all sectioned out. So if you want to go and look up stuff with Canada, you can. If you want to look up just memes, you can. If you want to look up just YouTubers that are being promoted, you can. If you want to look up news about or science about or animal shit, you can. You know, if you want to look up all the anti-white racism stuff, you can, right? F for Fred, that fucking Croatian. YouTube will be all non-white before long, right? Yeah, I'm assuming. But here's from the Post-Millennial, and they're talking about breaking. Canada sheds 71,000 jobs in November. Stats can. So Canada collectively shed more than 71,000 jobs in November, the single largest job loss since the 2008 financial crisis. Meanwhile, the economic engine in US roared ahead, employing 266,000 more workers, right? So, they can't really blame this on the globe and on low oil prices and all this other bullshit that they tend to excuse Trudeau for. They're like, no, man, a lot of these jobs were good paying jobs that they lost, a lot of them in the manufacturing sector and natural resources and service producing sectors, right? The number of private sector employees was down while self-employment and public sector employment held steady. So what are these self-employed people, right? A lot of them probably are not actually producing anything. A lot of them probably just say they're self-employed so they can write off their car and the oil payments and their gas, and they can write off like a room in their house or write off all their expenses and be like, oh, I'm employed or something. I'm a self-employed, right? But it's bullshit. And we're losing tons of jobs while America is gaining tons of jobs. And it's not going to get any better. But once again, we gotta look at it through the perspective of a globalist. Does Trudeau, do the people, the liberals and the conservatives on either side really care that much about job loss and us and what goes on in our communities and our lives? No, they don't. If a lot of these jobs go to India or China where they can get a better deal, then they'll send them there, right? They don't care. And they're not going to do anything about it unless the jobs being lost are going to affect the possibility of them getting reelected, right? That's why they focus and they care so much about Quebec, and they give Quebec all these subsidies and attention whenever jobs are lost there, or Ontario, like the Oshawa plant. But when more than 150,000 or 100,000 jobs are lost in Alberta, you get, hey, well, you guys had a really good economy for a long time, so maybe you shouldn't complain because you guys had it pretty good, and now you're complaining that you don't have it good anymore. It's like, that's what you get. Maybe you guys should start taxing oil companies more, and maybe you should have learned how to code instead of this, right? It's fucking bullshit. Fucking ridiculous. And it's like teachers and unions, because they give all this money to the government, they will have them come and defend them, and they're making what in Ontario $91,000 a year, and they want even more money, a 2% increase and all this shit. And they were going to give them still a 1% increase to get some of the best benefits in the country. But it's one of the reasons why I'm against government nationalizing things, right? Because you think, oh, the government needs to nationalize this, but then the workers, the people, they have you by the balls, because then every time they strike, like what's happening with CN, what's happening with the teachers, what's happening with the SkyTrain, I think in Ottawa right now, they're the only company there delivering the services, so they can hold everything up if they want to and get a really good deal. But if you have a private market where everything is separated, then teachers in this one school fucking protest, then you just send your kids to a better school, a different school. But this way, because they nationalize everything, they can screw you over. And like I said, because the unions, they steal all your money and give it to political parties, well, you're going to have them come and help you. They're going to boost up your wages and shit. They're going to increase public sector jobs that aren't adding to the economy, and they don't give a shit about the private sector job loss. How people are working 2-3 jobs, or going homeless now because of it. But that this is a huge job loss number. It'd be equivalent of America losing, like, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of jobs. But Ontario experienced modest losses, causing its unemployment rate to rise slightly, but at 5.6%, it's still below the national average. Modest job growth was experienced in the prairie province of Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Unemployment or employment for men between the ages of 25 54 also dropped for a second month in a row. So, the employment for men is dropping between 25 and 54, the peak working ages of your life, where men are going to work the longest, the hardest, they're going to produce the most, and they don't even have fucking jobs. And we're importing people like those fucking immigrants that are staying, or not immigrants, those illegal aliens that are staying in that place. And I think it was Ontario, Ottawa, that facility that used to be a government-run place that they're spending, what, $1 million a month to facilitate. It's taking care of 200 people. Like, it's just crazy. Just the money that we're throwing away, and the job losses and shit, and nobody gives a shit. But that's something that's going on right now. There's an article also from Post Millennial, like CBC lost more than half of its ad revenue over 5 years. So they're losing tons of money. Just goes to show you once again, like the government controlling the media, state-run media, is not good either. It's just a money pit. It's a money hole. And all that money that they're stealing from us, we could be giving to other media that's more profitable, because we would have more tax dollars now to give to, I don't know, True North, Rebel Media, Post Millennial, or whatever, to help them grow. But no, it's all being stolen from us and given to an inefficient news organization that lies to you, that promotes drag kids, that promotes racism, like the stories I was saying like, oh, white people are racist and we need to talk about this, or Global News talking about how racialized women and how they deal with sexual assault on living in color or something. Fucking bullshit. Yeah, an old hydro facility. That's what it is. It's a hydro facility that they're housing them in, right? This is something I want to show, which is just hilarious. Oh my God. Like, this is modern art to a T, right? This is modern art. So apparently this banana that was taped onto a wall was sold for $120,000. So on Friday, we reported on the latest bizarre milestone in the art world, where a banana duct taped to a wall sold for $120,000 at that excess liquidity conclave of ultra rich and all other wannabe posers known as Art Basel Miami Beach. Worse, a second banana duct tape to a wall also sold for $120,000. Yet even worse than that, a third banana duct tape to a wall is expected to sell for $150,000 and so on. So you got these rich liberal elites buying bananas on walls and being like, this is great, this is art. And then at the same time saying, hey guys, we need to raise your property taxes because we need to do more for climate change, or we need to do more for this, or we need to spend more money on all this other crap. But they're just throwing money away on bananas taped to walls that, it's like, who is buying this shit? It's not conservative people. It's these liberal a-holes that are like, oh, it's banana. And then what happened? Some guy ate it, apparently. Then on Saturday around 1:45, the art world was shocked when a random man, allegedly a performance artist, ate said duct tape banana that sold earlier this week for $120,000. New York-based performance artist David DeTuna ate the banana early on Saturday afternoon in front of stunned convention full of art lovers, most of whom had no idea whether they are witnessing even more art or just some clueless rando eating the world's most discussed art exhibit, the gallery told. So this is what art has become now. And this is just like, what is it? Like Marxism and shit. Like they're trying to destroy the meaning of beauty, of what actually is art, what is actually beautiful. And these people are actually thinking that this is art. Some guy eating a banana is art. Like, how do we move away from people painting amazing paintings of scenery, of like just the Last Supper, and like the Mona Lisa? How do we go from that to here's a piece of shit on the floor? This is art. This guy eating a banana, that's art. See, this is why I think idiocracy is actually coming to fruition. You know, like look at the art I have on my walls. None of it is like Picasso shit. None of it is random bullshit. It's actual pictures of things that people draw nicely that you can actually appreciate. Not like looking at this big jumbled mess of postmodernism art and trying to figure out what the fuck it is. You're like, no, you should just be able to know what it is, what you're looking at, and appreciate it. You know, the art was for the people. It's not for snobs. It wasn't meant for snobs. You know, art was a way to transcribe information to regular people because most people could not read up until recently. Most people were not literate. You know, a lot of the paintings of things you see in churches and the walls and that was to get the message across because most people were not literate and stuff. You know, it's to get a message to people, to regular people, for them to understand it as well through art, through beauty. But it's not just this random bullshit where, oh, well, what does this mean to you? What does this scribbly line mean to you? It means scribbly line. It looks like a 3-year-old came into your room and started throwing paint against the wall. Like a lot of modern art is that today. I can just like get a kid to step in some paint and get him to walk on a canvas and get him to piss and shit every once in a while. And people will be like, wow, this is beautiful. This is like how is it beautiful? Are you going to put that on your wall? Are you going to do that? Some people would put that on their wall. You know, like even the disgusting art coming from like the pizza joint or something is at least better done than that stuff. You know, it's creepy and disgusting as hell, but at least, you know, they draw out forms that you can see what the hell it is. This postmodern art is just crap. It's garbage. It's like a banana. They need that dude with the bucket of shit. I know, right? And the bucket of shit. The bucket of shit, man. Like, that's fucking hilarious. You know, like that is art. That is modern art. The guy going and shit and throwing buckets of shit on Asian students or something. It's not as bad as what happened to America. This guy in America, it happened before this. He pulled this woman out of her car, dragged her across the street, and then proceeded to dump a bucket of liquefied shit and piss all over her. And it was like stuck in her eyes and face. And she was like trying to get it out and stuff. Like, no, that's modern art. You know, that's modern art to a T. You know, that's what people find beautiful today. You know, it's Shia LaBeouf standing in a place and letting people come and like slap him in the face or something. You're like, that's beautiful. This is no, it isn't. It's like they're trying to fuck with you. I think that's what it is. They want to see how much they can mess with people to see what they will buy, how sheepish you are as an individual to be like, hey, let's see if we can make them think shit smeared over canvas is beautiful. If we can make you believe that, then essentially we can make you believe anything. We got you by the fucking balls. If we can make you think that this is beautiful, that this is something great, then you're just a useful idiot that has a lot of money that we're probably going to be able to use. Or you're just like, you got so much money, you're just flaunting it in front of the poor plebs saying, see, look at, we're buying bananas taped onto walls because we got so much fucking money, you poors, that we can buy fruit that's going to expire in 2 days taped on fucking walls. Just, you know, while you plebs starve in the streets, you know, just why don't they eat cake? You know, why don't these people eat cake? Yeah, Boss Man is a retard. Ask AJ Earl, Boss Man, I want to make some modern art with you. Yeah, exactly. We get Boss Man, and we'll just start flinging shit at Boss Man as he's strapped to like a post, and we'll be like, "This is modern art. This is what you wanted, right? This is, you know, us poor people, we can't understand this." But you being smart and educated, you can understand the significance of why shit smeared all over your face from people flinging at you in the streets is beautiful. You know, you'll be able to see the beauty in that. We'll just be the dumb ones throwing it, and all the smart people will be like, oh, this is so beautiful. You know, why do people think that the Mona Lisa and all these other things written, like painted by, like, I don't know, Da Vinci or whatever, like, how could they find that beautiful, right? How does an atheist argue for objectivity and beauty? I don't know. We do. I think some things are objectively beautiful. And believing in God doesn't mean that you have objectivity either, right? You think you do, right? But I can take that apart too and be like, well, it's not necessarily objective. But, you know, I think there is an objective standard of beauty that we can all just recognize inherently and naturally, right? It doesn't matter what race you are. We can recognize a beautiful woman when we look at a beautiful woman, and we can recognize an ugly woman when we look at an ugly woman, or an ugly man, or whatever, right? Like there is something, there is a standard of beauty, things that are, you know, orderly, things that work together, that fit together, things that aren't all like scribbly and shit. You know, yes, art is and it's objective, I guess, to some extent, or subjective, and art isn't, or beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but not, I wouldn't say really, right? You know, that's just something nice. People say that's nice to like really disabled, ugly people that have like, you know, like two eyes looking the other way or something, right? And they're like, beauty isn't it? But no, it isn't. Okay, nobody's gonna look at this like midget that, you know, is all deformed and be like, wow, you're beautiful. I'm sorry to say, like, I'm not trying to offend you or something, but there is a standard of fucking beauty. People do think things are beautiful. How dare you? How dare you, peasants? But yeah, no, I think they're trying to mess with reality, and by convincing you that a banana taped to a wall is art, is just messing with your brain. You know, it's trying to confuse you. I think, like I said, it's trying to make. I think it's like them seeing how much they can get away with, right? How much they can make regular people brain not work anymore by like being like, wow, this is something special here. Wow, this guy just ate the banana. Holy shit. Well, you know, I like Christianity. I think it's good. I don't want to get rid of Christianity, but when we're just talking about ethics, and when we're talking about reality and truth and stuff, then obviously I'm going to have debates about, you know, the technicalities of things. But I like Christianity. I like the fact that it's universal, and compared to Judaism, like Boss Man's people believe, and Islam, like other people believe, it's very subjective. You know, like Jews can treat Jews a certain way, but not non-Jews, or like they can treat non-Jews differently than they can treat Jews. Islam, same thing. They can treat non-Muslims differently than they treat Muslims. But Christianity is universal, right? There's no, okay, well, thou shalt not kill Christians, but you can kill the Muslims and the Jews and no. That doesn't exist. That's why Christianity is better than a lot of other religions. This is why the West is better than a lot of other countries, because they have consistent morals. It's not subjective. It's not relative, right? Doesn't mean they always apply these things, you know, the way they should be applied, but believing in objective truth is what gets us to have things like a rocket that can fly into space and to go to the moon, unless you believe we've never gone to the moon and the world is flat, then whatever. But believing in truth, believing in reality, and applying consistent logical principles to everything will get you the same type of results over and over again, right? So, It's kind of like if there is truth in math and science, if we can have replicable experiences like this, then I think it should also exist in other forms as well. You can find truth and a real truth, not just some subjective truth, like not just truth based on the circumstances and the time that you're in. No, you're not better than me, you Jew. And you're not even Jewish, man. You're not even Jewish. I know you're not Jewish. You just say you are because maybe you are, maybe you're either Mossad or you're black. You're one or the other. You're Mossad or you're black, or you're some other, maybe you're Indian, because I know a lot of Indian people like to pretend to be white or something, and they like to start a lot of shit online. They pretend to be white or black, and then they go and they try to start shit between different groups. I know a lot of Indians do that as well, and probably some Chinese and Asians. So until I see your face, boss man, until you give me some proof and evidence of who you are, then I don't believe a fucking thing you say, man, to be honest. But, oh well. Non-practicing Jew is not a Jew. No, man, that's what a lot of non-practicing Jewish people say that, but that doesn't really mean anything. We never went to the moon, but the earth is not flat. Well, I don't know. Maybe we didn't go to the moon, but AJ Elicits, boss man, is probably a black Jew like Drake. Yeah, probably. Some of the lost tribes of Israel, and nothing wrong with being black. I'm not saying, oh, you black person. I'm just saying, I don't think you're Jewish. I think you're black, or I'm just going with my gut, okay? And oftentimes I found when I go with my gut, I'm often right a lot of the times. And if I doubt my gut, then I start to doubt it, then I get led astray. And sometimes it's wrong, sometimes it is wrong. But I found when something just clicks and I'm like, this person is this person is that, this is that, I'm like, okay, it's probably true. I've learned to go with it. Hello, fellow white. Some of the lost tribes of Israel went to Japan. BM could be a Jap. That's true. I do, boss man. He's got me pegged. He knows me pretty good. Speaking of the blacks, let's share something to do with the blacks right here, right? So this is some blacks complaining about Canada. Newcomers say they're left in limbo by unfair changes to Manitoba health card requirements. So now Manitoba Health Department requires proof they live in the province, such as a lease agreement, a document confirming employment, or a notarized letter from a landlord. It's a requirement newcomer coordinator Boris Natambwe says is difficult for new Canadians to fulfill. Natambwe said because many immigrants and refugees stay in transitional housing when they first arrive, they don't have the kind of paperwork the province is asking for. Because they don't have a permanent residence, those newcomers are left in limbo during that period, unsure of what might happen if they need medical care before they secure permanent housing, he said. That legislation says health insurance is reserved for Manitoba residents, which defines as a person who is legally entitled to Canada, makes their home in Manitoba, and physically present in province for at least 6 months. So, like, Jesus Christ, these people are so fucking entitled, man. And they're all getting it paid for, even though, right? They're like, you know what? I had to go to the walk-in clinic a while ago because they for some reason just deleted my medical card randomly. And then I'm like, why? And they're like, well, we sent a letter to your old address and you never sent one back, so we deleted it. I'm like, okay, you fucking faggots. And then I had to pay for all this shit out of my own pocket, hundreds of dollars, and I never got reimbursed. I tried getting it reimbursed, and they're like, haven't gotten a cent back, but all these people are getting reimbursed for the money that they have to pay at these private places. They're like, oh, this is bullshit. I can't just walk in. And they don't want to go to walk-ins or the hospital. They want to have like private doctors, essentially. It's a situation leaving people like Louisa Adama, who arrived in Winnipeg from Nigeria at the beginning of November, living in fear of what will happen if someone in her family gets sick or injured. So you arrived here last year. She has a 6-week-old child and like a 2-year-old child. And you're like, why are we letting in people that are just going to be dependents immediately, going to be using our healthcare system that they never paid into, and they're going to be using it a lot? Man, they're going to be using it way more. Every time their kid has the fucking sniffles, they're going to go in and they're going to use the healthcare system. It's going to cost everybody else more money. You know, a lot of regular Canadians barely go to the fucking doctor. Idana said she worried about her daughter's 1-year-old Ara and 3-year-old, whatever the fuck her name is. What if something happened? She said, looking down at Ara on her stroller on one of her visits to the Carleton Street office. Without a health card, I cannot access the health system, which is unfair. No, it's not unfair, you fucking bitch. Go back to fucking Africa and, you know, make your kids survive there. I don't care. I have no sympathy left for people who likely entered my country illegally, who want just to use the resources immediately. Accueil Francophones, whatever, said some newcomers he works with have gotten expensive hospital bills after emergency room visits because they don't have health cards. He said 2 more bills for 1,000 came across his desk. So far, the provinces has covered all of his clients' medical bills. So the provinces has covered all of his clients' medical bills. But see, I don't have a lawyer working for me when the government deletes my fucking healthcare card and I have to pay for shit. Nobody's going to go on my behalf trying to get my fucking money. But, you know, as soon as these people come in, they have people that they're directed towards saying, hey, this person will help you with housing. This person will do this. This person will do that for you. You're like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. And why are they complaining? It's all being paid for them by the province anyways. Oh, but I have to go through some extra hassle. This is not fair. Oh, well, we let you into a country in which you have no ties, in which you've paid nothing, and you're getting fucking free medical coverage. But, you know, we still got to hear stories about this from CBC trying to make us have sympathy. It just makes me angry. So in case they refuse to pay, there's no clarity, he said. It puts us in a very challenging situation. A lot of people are not comfortable just going to the hospital or walk-in clinics because they don't know whether they'll be reimbursed or not, said Ahmed, a refugee response coordinator at the Manitoba Association. And some, they don't even the means to pay out of their pocket. Oh, too bad. A lot of Canadians don't either. Delaying and denying health coverage, in my perspective, he says, an individual could just die because of this, because of the delay, blah, 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 whatever, you know. So just more bullshit, more shit trying to make us feel bad for, you know, being generous to people and letting them into our country. But you're not helping enough. You're not giving enough money to people. You're not converting enough hydro facilities and making them into homeless shelters, right? You're not doing it enough. AJ, do you have the blaspheme God? Can I get a witch doctor license? Call a witch doctor. She's homesick. Yeah, exactly. You know, you can go do voodoo on your child and cut off somebody's hand and put the blood over their head or something. Name Amy now. Can you imagine going to Japan, Hungary, etc., bitch to them about how things are run? Yeah, exactly. You know, that's the one thing. You know, can you imagine going to any other country and complaining about going to China and be like, hey, you guys, I don't like the way you're treating me. They'd be like, okay, you're going in a re-education camp and we're gonna do this to you now. And I'm not suggesting we do that either, because I know some dumb leftists are going to be like, oh, so you say we should put minorities like and treat them like we do the Chinese. But it's like, no, but just saying, the countries you come from don't treat people very well who tend to speak up even if they're actual citizens of your country. So sorry about that, but you know, just be thankful that we let you in our country to begin with, because we don't need to, you know. Be happy, you know, be thankful. Instead of like this bullshit. But you know, I think I'll probably show a couple more stories here. I'll show this one really quickly, just so you guys get an idea what's going on in Sweden again too. So Sweden, statue of Virgin Mary stolen and found chopped into pieces. So according to criminal and freight inspector at Stockholm police, theft of bronze objects and statues are becoming more and more common across Sweden, with thieves likely looking to melt the statues down in order to sell the metal. The theft comes just over a year since Swedish crown jewels belonging to former Swedish King Charles the Fourth or the Ninth or whatever, along with the funeral crown of his wife, were stolen from Strängnäs Cathedral. The jewel is said to be worth 65 million. You know, so church desecrations and robberies have been a major issue in other European countries like France. And see, you know what? Once again, I'm going to blame this on diversity. It's diversity. It's nothing else. This was not going on before. It was not happening before. These things were not being desecrated, stolen, destroyed, sold for money, because, you know, you're bringing in people, either they're atheists and they're like Antifa type leftists that don't care about our history and our culture and think that it's like racist and whatever, you know, or I guess that, you know, sometimes they could just be regular criminals, but it's also, I think people, it's because they just don't care about the culture, the heritage. So they're like, okay, well, let's raid these churches. There's never any security. There's never anything here. They got all these valuables that, you know, the locals would never touch because they value these things in their culture and they wouldn't want to destroy them. But so you just bring a bunch of foreigners in there who don't value your culture, who don't value your heritage and your culture. Well, these things are going to be up for pickings and they're going to get stolen. They're going to get destroyed. They're going to get desecrated. You know, this is what ISIS does to objects of other countries. They desecrate them. They destroy artifacts. You know, I'm pretty sure this is what they tell you to do in Islam. It's destroy artifacts of other gods and shit as well. Just cut them off. He's a redhead, red beer. Yes, boss man is our troll. We like him. Sweden as a country has never been to. Do you even have a passport? See what this is, a typical liberal response from boss man. Sweden, a country AJ Elicits has never been to. Do you even have a passport? So apparently you have to travel to a country in order to be able to read news. Did you guys know that you had to travel to a country in order to be able to read news? I didn't know this. I didn't fucking know this, man. Like, this is crazy. So literally, what Boss Man is saying is that everything that's being reported on Sweden is lies. All the statistics, all the crime, the thing I just showed you right there, it's all lies. You actually have to go and travel to Sweden and like walk around and go to that church that was vandalized to confirm. Like, this is the level of argument that you get from Mossad agents and people that are using these leftist arguments. Like, man, trust me, man. I've argued with enough people that use this stuff that I know the counters to them, because it's might be useful. It might work on like dumb people or something, but you know, oh, you must travel to a country in order to know anything about it, in order to say anything, in order to notice anything. Like, it's just ridiculous. Islam's most sacred artifact, Mecca, black stone, is from old pagan gods, right? See, Bossman, AJ has never left his own country. Actually, I have left my own country, but you know, this is kind of like the elitist argument or something, right? Like, so if Boss Man traveled to like Spain and Portugal, he can now speak about Sweden or something because he's traveled. You know, see, bad arguments are really easy to destroy because they're not based off of like, you know, anything logical. It's just a bad argument, right? Continue with your bad arguments and let me continue making fun of you because it's fun. I went to more countries than your whole family and extended family all added up. Yet I'm here and AJ is 100% right on track. Go silent. See, Acadia, exactly. Acadia, as soon as somebody comes around and says, hey, by the way, I've traveled to more countries than you have, and AJ is 100% right, it kind of destroys your whole argument, right? When you're like, but you don't travel to countries, so you're just an ignorant, poor white person who doesn't travel. But then somebody comes along and kind of confirms all of it. Oh, well, see, that's why you don't make bad arguments, because somebody like Acadia can come around, Acadian, and just easily destroy them, right? Like so easily. No, he's not Blue Apple's extra account. You are a roofer who lives in a hovel and bad furniture and cheap paintings. Oh man, I got to him. Hey Taz, how's it going, buddy? Long time no see, man. You does not know how many countries I have been to. Oh, now you don't know how many countries I've been to. Oh, you don't know. I'm apparently 18 or 19 or 20, like Boss Man says, but he's been to like all over the world and he knows all this shit. That's why I'm like, man, I don't believe a fucking word you say about like half the things you say, because, you know, you're some woke 18-year-old Jew who fucking like been all over the world apparently with your rich Jewish parents, and you know all about Caribbean culture and all these different cultures. It's really, really interesting, man. See, yes, I'm saying, like, lies don't really work. Your shit doesn't work so well when your story doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, you should have said you're a 35-year-old this or that or something, as opposed to a law student in McGill University, right? You know, but people don't think about their lies, I guess, and that's the thing, you know. That's why you shouldn't live like that. You should live as a truth teller, and you always tell the truth, so you don't have to craft these fucking crazy bullshit stories that don't really make a lot of sense. And when you think about it, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Julie has itchy band fingers. So is it time for Boss Man spanking? Yeah, right. He does not know. But Taz, I haven't seen that guy a long time, man. Taz, everybody go sub to him on Twitter. It was Brass Thieves, nothing to see here. Let's see who else is on chat. I am 23 from Toronto, you inbreed. Okay, all right, Boss Man. I'm giving you too much attention. I gave you what you wanted, man. So, you know, be content with the attention I've just given you. It's the most that you're going to get for the rest of the week, I'm sure. Wee lad. No, you dumb roofer. Do you know how to read? He's triggered. See, it's thank you, Julie. Boss Man, it's spelled inbred. But whatever. You do have a wonder why Jews are so despised and untrusted every place they go. Someone got snappy. Hey, Lance Lucifer, how's it going, man? Hey, I don't matter. Daddy, I am black. Okay, all right. Well, don't say too much in my chat, because, you know, I'm just reading your shit constantly. Kim Alberta, you are right. I'm so mad at myself for the last few years, too scared to say anything because I don't want to be called a racist. We let the left do this. We gave them an inch and they took everything. No more. Exactly. You know, we can't give the left an inch whatsoever. And this is why Trudeau, or Scheer and all these people lose in a lot of their arguments, because like when it comes to climate change, Andrew Scheer and all these people agree that we need to do something about climate change. So right away, you're legitimizing the left's argument. Same with, oh, well, we don't talk to people who say hateful things and are racist and stuff. It's like, no, you should be countering the left by saying, actually, we respect freedom of speech and we will speak to anybody regardless of the things that they say about whomever else or whatever, right? And when it comes to climate change, you don't say, well, I agree with Trudeau that the CO2 is a problem and we need to do something about it, because now you just legitimize their arguments and they're going to win it each and every time because they're always going to do more than you when it comes to climate change. That's why you have to say, no, it's all bullshit. Why are we worrying so much about carbon in the atmosphere? You know, I was thinking about this the other day, and you see all the things that they make, that they talk about to try to scare us, right? It's always something very intangible, something that's going to happen in the years, in the future. Like, oh, the ozone layers, there's holes in them. You can't see it, but it's a real big problem, and we need to do all this shit. You need to give us money, et cetera, et cetera. You know, oh, this problem, that the carbon is getting too much in the air. You know, you can't see it, you can't observe it. There's no way to touch it. It's intangible. So it's easy to use this type of stuff. You know, they'll only ever talk about, oh, we need to lower the carbon. But really, it comes down, you know, if they really care, they'd be like, they talk about tangible things like the pollution in the water, you know, not having clean drinking water, putting sewage in our waterways like Ottawa does, and they dump tons and tons of it in the water. Like, you know, they don't want to talk about tangible things. They want to talk about intangible things that are going to happen in the future, 20, 30 years down the road, so they can use that as like a fear mechanism, you know, something where, you know, you can't really disagree with because there's nothing for you to touch, to feel, to see, right? They can say, oh, well, you're just reading the data wrong, and it's clear, obvious to see, duh, and you're an idiot if you don't believe it, you know, but whatever, you know, it's just a huge scam. He gets off on watching you. Yeah, he does. Nothing changed since I left. Today, the most intolerant wins. She needs a facelift. Oh, shut up, boss man. Leave Julie out of it. She is a beautiful woman. And boss man is anonymous. Like he's been anonymous since the very beginning, which is one of the reasons why you can't really trust people like that. Like, I'm not shitting on all anonymous people, but you know, your words will carry less weight when you don't even show your face and you talk about how ugly people are. Well, let us see the way, let us see you look before you criticize other people's looks, right? But I see that all the time, not from boss man, not even him, but just a lot of people in general. And you're like, man, if you're gonna criticize other people's looks, then you may as well show your own fucking ugly mug. But you don't want to do that because you know, oh, okay, they're going to come back at me and poke all the things that you don't like about me, right? Or point out all the bad things in my face or something. And it was easily fixed after we replaced CFCs with hydrocarbons as refrigerants, and propellants basically fixed itself, right? Yeah, so I don't know about the ozone layer or something, but, you know, I don't know. I don't know if it was, because it was kind of like, it was opening in a lot of different random areas on the planet. It doesn't really make sense. Like, did it just open above the areas where there was lots of development, or did it open over Africa and stuff like that too, right? I'd have to look into that more. You have fed Newfie speak to your Syrians. You'll be sucking cock in hell just like Pierre Trudeau. No, Julie is a very beautiful woman. I don't know what boss man is talking about, but he just likes to shit on people because, once again, he's anonymous. Smile for the camera. So I think I'm probably going to end it here, guys, though. Everybody come to my Discord. Like I said before, join my Discord. I'm going to send another invite. Don't leave just yet. Don't leave just yet. Here is the link for my Discord right here. Join it immediately right now. If you don't, you're a piece of shit, motherfucker. Join it, you know, share stuff, contribute, all that good stuff. Also join my Discord, my BitChute account if this YouTube channel gets taken down anytime soon, which is a possibility for sure. So here is my BitChute account as well in the chat. Here you go. He says, bring him on, AJ Elicits. No, I'm not bringing, I'm just leaving. I've been on for 3 fucking hours and I haven't eaten it. Now you want to come on? You've been here for a fucking hour and a half. I tried bringing you on for fucking ever. I am good looking. Let's go. Bring me on. Okay. Next time I'll bring you on and we'll get a look at your face. But I barely eaten anything. It's like 6 o'clock and I'm actually fucking starving. But fine. Okay, BM. That's it. You're on. If you want to come on my show, come on my channel. I'll have you on. I'd be really interested to see, to be honest. Or even just to speak with you to confirm. But I think you're just bullshitting me. Anyways, you're not even gonna come on. I call girls names to flirt. Okay, all right. See, I don't know. BM, whatever, man. I love you, buddy. I love you. I don't know. I don't know when my next stream will be. I think you're in my Discord. Follow me on Discord, BM. I sent the link in there. Join me on Discord, and then we can go over that shit some other day or whatever. But I don't have specific times that I do my streams at, as you guys all know. I just do them randomly. But everybody, I know Rance Derek is going to be having a stream shortly at 6:30. So everybody go join his stream. I am a 45-year-old Negro, right? See, I knew it. I don't know, man. I love you, boss, man. I know. You know what? Like, you're a piece of shit in a lot of ways. You're a piece of shit. But I unbanned you. I unbanned you from Discord. I unbanned you. I'm pretty sure I did anyways. If not, I'll have to look. But, I like him and Gargamel as well. They're not too bad, and they got some goodness in them. And whatever, I don't mind. Sometimes I'm wrong about shit, and it's good to have different perspectives and etc. Thank you for the stream, AJ. Good stuff and usual. Peace out. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you for all joining me. I appreciate everybody joining the stream. I appreciate everybody liking, sharing, and subscribing. That really helps as well. Everybody share this on Twitter, share this on Facebook, share this whatever else if you want to. If not, I'm not going to hold it against you. But that's all I ask. And I really, like I said, I really do appreciate everybody here. Even Boss Man, I appreciate him coming around and participating. And even though he's saying things I don't like sometimes, or I think it's stupid, it makes the stream interesting, and it's fun and stuff. And I don't take it to heart. And it's good to have different opinions on and shit like that, right? It stirs it up once in a while, right? But once again, guys, thank you again. Join my Discord. I'm gonna send the link in there again because I'm really trying to promote this thing here. And call me Big Black. all right, Big Black. All right, I'll call you Big Black. But join the Discord. Let me know if you're still banned, BM. I don't know if I did. I'm pretty sure I unbanned you. But you guys can understand why I banned him, But I ban him, then I unban him. I'm like, oh, fine. I'll unban you. Well, free speech, yeah, it's sure, right? Went over to Discord and nothing is happening. Oh, well, I don't know. Nothing, maybe not right now. I don't know, man. Like I'll try to get them to start posting shit or something. But either way, guys, thank you for joining me. I don't think I missed any super chats, or I don't think I saw any. So if I did, I apologize. And once again, take it easy, guys. Have a good one. Peace.